Dodges start first and third today because Budweiser, official beer of NASCAR and proud sponsor of the Bud Pole Award, gives that award to the fastest qualifier each Nextel Cup race. And the Rocket, Ryan Newman, scores his 40th career pole, his 4th at Dover. He is in the Budweiser shootout of 2008, and Dodge has won 6 of the last 7 poles here at Dover. Keys to today's race, other than that umbrella we needed yesterday.
I'm not sure 3 will actually cover it, but let's take a look at them here, how we kind of view it. Keep it turning all day. Mile racetrack, you spend 2/3 of the time in the corner. The car that can rotate all day through the middle, stay in the throttle, that'll be the car that goes to victory lane. The challenge of pit road, the entrance is a challenge, and it has some of the smallest pit boxes and one of the most narrowest pit roads that we have on the circuit. Never fails we have cars get together on pit road. You know what? You better not ever relax. Never let your guard down, even under caution.
Yeah, and I think there's some nervous drivers right now, Larry, and that's going to be a key right there. Don't overreact here on the get-go.
Today's race, 400 laps, 400 miles around the track they call the Monster Mile. 35 down pit road. The 2 competition cautions, you're only allowed to add fuel. You're not allowed to change tires under those.
And if you look right there at the pit window, 75 to 80 laps, and that is a fuel window. And trust me, we will probably in the middle of this race get some long green runs.
Eight onboard views. Note that Michael Waltrip is in the field for the first time since the Daytona 500, along with many of the usual suspects. Thanks to all of those teams and their sponsors for carrying our NASCAR on Fox onboards. How about tread cam? Now there's a look at turn 3 and the monster bridge, that VIP suite above turn 3, and you see just how banked this place really is.
And I think Miles the Monster is over there waiting with open arms.
Well, DW, for the final time in 2007, if you think Tropical Storm Barry is a storm, wait till you see this green flag. Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time. Boogity, boogity, boogity. See you next year, boys. Boy, the guy that got a great start, he's already working on Bobby Labonte in that 43 car. Carl Edwards in the 99. Started back in 5th. He got a jump in a hurry on the green flag.
And he won this Busch race here on Saturday, and he is pumped, Larry. He thinks he can take that Fusion to victory circle today.
And what I see right there, just like we talked about the keys, right now, I know it's early, his car just flies through the middle of the corner.
It really does, and putting that bumper up under the back of Bobby Labonte, sooner or later Bobby will get a little movement there and he'll go right by.
Now let's restate what can be done on the competition caution. No fuel may be taken until the competition caution. If a caution comes out before lap 25, you may not add fuel, we're told.
Well, we'll see that all day long right there.
That was a nervous pass. This early in the race, you just don't know if that car's going to stick or not, but it looked really good getting off turn 4.
But what happened, Carl Edwards in the 99 opened the door, got Bobby Labonte in the 43 to the high side. We're riding with Dale Earnhardt Jr. He took advantage, moved to 3rd.
Very quickly, the top 15 go single file, feeling things out here at Dover International Speedway on a green racetrack, washed free of rubber yesterday. Let's get some late stories for pit road. First, Matt Yoakum.
Mike, adapting to different situations quickly has become a Jeff Gordon trademark, and this has been a great place for him in the past. He's got 4 wins here, but Gordon has been searching much of the weekend for that feel that he usually is accustomed to here at Dover. They made a lot of changes, but right now, their game plan, ride for 300 laps and set themselves up to race the final 100. Jeff?
Well, right now, Matt, Carl Edwards is on a tear. He's at 1 on Saturday. He feels very confident about this race car. Got a great start. Already listened to Larry and to Darrell about it. He has definitely got his car working good, and his crew chief is very excited about it. He's trying to keep him calm down. You got to realize, Rouse Racing has won the last 3 races, the spring races here at Dover, and they're looking for a 4th with Carl Edwards.
Jeff, 2 years ago, Elliott Sadler dominated the first
car that day, but rallied to finish 10th. If ever a guy needed a good run today, it's Elliott Sadler. Folks, he hasn't had a top 10 finish since the season opening Daytona 500. He started 7th today. Krista?
Pit road, always a busy place, but nowhere more so than pit stall number 39. There's only 42 pit stalls at Dover, so the number 70 and the number 84 have to share. Look at how busy this place is down here. One pit box, that belongs to the 70, but 2 crews, they will each pit their own team, and they're going to share equipment from the number 70 pit stall. We learned how to share in kindergarten. It's never knew it would apply to pit stalls.
Thanks, Krista. When a car falls out of the race, the 70 team has the first option whether to leave and go take over the pit being vacated. That is a situation that is part of the capital improvement plan and will be corrected in coming years here.
I got to tell you something, guys. Right now, the leader is coming off turn 4. He's at the line now, and the tail end of the field is coming off at turn 2. The leaders are whipping around this joint. They'll be caught up with the back of the field just about the time that caution comes out.
Yeah, we're coming to lap 10. We still have 15 laps of that first caution, so trust me, the spotters, the crew chiefs are talking to those cars back there saying, you know what, need to pick it up just a little bit if you can.
What they need to do, Larry, is settle down. Those last 6 cars have been racing 2 and 3 wide for the first 8 laps, and that's how they got so far back.
Yeah, right now you're not racing each other. You're racing the elements knowing you have that caution coming at lap 25.
Yeah, right now you're racing to that caution. All you want to do is try to stay on the lead lap that first caution, adjust your car, make it much better, hopefully.
And we can see the trailing edge of this weather front off behind the Dover Downs Casino and Hotel, and we're just hopeful there's no falling rain in it. We'll see.
Riding with Matt Kenseth right now in the 17 car. He started back in the 17 position right now, working on his teammate Greg Biffle in the 16. Watching practice on Saturday, we felt like the 17 car would definitely be one of the comers moving to the front.
He may not win the race, but you'll have to beat him to win the race.
The Rocket Ryan Newman has led every lap so far, but Carl Edwards is hot on his tail. 19 laps complete, caution free. You see the back end of that front out over to the northwest and the southwest from Dover, and we are hopeful that's going to pass through without dropping any rain. Once it gets past, we should be clear to about 6 or 7 p.m.
We're watching the front right now. Kyle Petty, Johnny Sauter, David Gilliland, they're looking in the rearview mirror at this blue number 12. We're about 5 laps away from this competition caution, and right now Newman is about half of a straightaway behind that group.
And I think what happens when you're at the back like that is you say, okay, I'm going to get a caution at lap 25, so I won't take any chances, won't push you too hard. Then all of a sudden you say, rah-rah. I forgot about that guy coming around to lap me.
Right. What do you think about the race pace? We're running 25-10s, 25-20s.
Well, we usually run a little quicker than that, but that's one thing I like about this car, believe it or not. It is slower. It was the slowest of the 3 divisions here this weekend. The trucks were faster, the Busch cars were faster, but we're seeing better racing with a slower car.
Jeff Gordon in 5th, behind Newman, Edwards, Earnhardt, and Kane.
But you know what I like, what I'm seeing already here at lap 22. We just saw it with that 24 car. I've been watching Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 as we're riding now with Casey Kane, is these guys are able to move up the racetrack and run a second group. But I'm going to tell you one guy that has not moved off the bottom. Martin Truex Jr. in this one car, he started back in 26. He has moved to 14th. I talked to Matt Yoakum after the practice on Saturday. They basically rebuilt this car over the course of the weekend. Martin's won a Busch race here. I think this could be a car that could be a contender if they can just stay focused and close the deal.
Yeah, boys rolling the center really well, as which one of the points you made earlier.
And more so, this is like you running at at Nashville, Darrell. For Martin Truex, this track is home.
Oh, yeah. Might be able to sell a few more fish.
23 laps down, 2 laps to the competition yellow. The NASCAR will wave to allow the teams to check tire wear and get a good grasp of handling on a very green racetrack.
And
this has become pretty commonplace in recent years, and it's a good thing for competition.
But there are guys right now that they're probably they're tireder after this 25 laps than they will be the last 25 laps, because they're hanging on, trying to get to that caution to make adjustments.
1 more lap and we'll have it.
And right now, Ryan Newman, he is about 3 car lengths behind Kyle Petty, and right there you see a battle for second. The yellow is out, so definitely that was the yellow that Kyle Petty, David Gilliland, Johnny Sauter, and trust me, a host of others were looking for. Dale Earnhardt Jr. just went by Carl Edwards in the 99 to take the second position. Dale Earnhardt Jr. had moved to the top of the racetrack.
Ryan Newman has now led 8 of the last 9 Dover races. Driving for Penske Racing, he and teammate Kurt Busch looking for a rebound here. Time for our AT&T virtual crew chief question. Will Hendrick Motorsports win its 6th straight race today? Derek Carpenter in Orlando wants to know. Choose A or B. And to answer, text the word crew to 191 on your AT&T or singular wireless phone. The new AT&T, your world delivered.
All right, as this caution comes out on lap 26, we need to clear one other thing up. The pits are open. You can do anything on this pit stop now. You can change tires, which we anticipate everyone will, because that's the reason we're having this caution to look at the tires. You can take on fuel, and trust me, I think you'll see a plethora of changes here. All 43 cars still in the lead lap. I anticipate some cars at the back of the field may stay out just to try to lead a lap here and pit near the end of this caution.
It'd be safer to stay out right now. I can tell you that.
We talked about this pit road.
Oh, man.
Come on, who wants 5 bonus points? Come on. All right, here's Kristen.
Well, Jimmy Johnson very concerned with that entry onto pit road. That's what he and Chad Knaus were talking about, a clear entry. Jimmy saying his car was a little tight on exit. Now it's tight all the way through. Jeff Hammond.
Well, right now, the 99 car, Carl Edwards, came in. His car's a little bit tight. They're actually going to make this a little bit of a wedge adjustment to drive the car, get it rolled through the center of the corner a little bit better, Matt.
Both Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon very pleased with their Chevrolets. They were going to add a small piece of tape to the grill of the 24, more so just to keep debris out. Dale Earnhardt Jr. said his car was really coming to him, and it showed, Steve.
Well, Matt, Ryan Newman said he really likes his race car as well. No adjustments to that number 12 car of Ryan Newman.
Who stayed out to try to lead a lap? Johnny Sauter. We'll see if he's in front when they come around. Have you make Getting ready for the restart. Johnny Sauter stayed out on track because, remember, he's sharing a pit with A.J. Allmendinger. He did not pick up 5 bonus points for leading a lap. He's made his stop, and Jimmy Johnson had to make 2.
But as we take the green here with Casey Kane leading, I'm going to have a talk with Booty Barker, crew chief for Johnny Sauter. All he would have had to have done is run another lap under caution and then pitted. He'd have got the 5 points. Remember, that team's 35th in owner points right now.
They need all the points they can get.
Well, let's see, we ran 25 laps. That worked out all right. Let's run 35 this time, see how that works out.
There will be another competition yellow at lap 65. And between now and then, no fuel can be added to these cars because NASCAR wants to see them all on pit road when that yellow flag waves.
Right. He don't want us to run about 15 laps, have a caution, someone take tires and fuel, and then stay out there. They want everybody on pit road changing tires. That caution on 65.
Dodge in the first 3 positions. Casey Kane, Scott Riggs, Ryan Newman. Dodge has yet to win a race this year. Will today be the day?
Easy now. Got to land low if you need it.
That's what I would say. Easy now. That 5 car went off into turn 3. Had a heck of a run under Brian Vickers there, but almost lost it.
But Darrell, he's had a heck of a run since the drop of the green flag. He started back in the 19th position. Here he just went by Brian Vickers for the 8th position. Got a good race car today. A lot like we were talking Martin Truex Jr. Stay focused. Close the deal today.
They just need to tighten the harness up on him a little bit. It'll be all right.
We had a couple of pit road incidents. Sterling Marlin got into Casey Mears exiting the pits, and Jimmy Johnson coming out of his pits sideswiped Kyle Petty and Robby Gordon, bent the toe out. Johnson had to come back in for an adjustment, and he is deep in the field, 39th.
And this is when you hold your breath when you're Jimmy Johnson, because you got a car that can win this race. We know that. But man, he's in heavy traffic. Man, he's in a tight spot.
You got it, man. You got it.
Here goes Kyle Busch to 5. He drives by Elliott Sadler in the 19 car. He takes away the 7th position. But let's talk about Brian Vickers in that 83 car. The top running Toyota had the great run last week at Lowe's. He started in 24th. He's now battling for the 7th position. Looks like they picked up right where they left off from Lowe's last week.
There's trouble on the right of your screen, or trouble brewing perhaps. Jimmy Johnson now 38th. Tracking Robby Gordon, and that's Bill Elliott in the 21. Behind the 48 is Kevin Harvick. Matt, did he have a problem on his stop?
Mike, the Shell team still trying to diagnose the engine issue that Kevin Harvick has been experiencing right from the get-go. They raised the hood on the first stop, thinking they had a plug wire up. Everything looked good there. Now they're thinking it's possibly an electrical issue for Harvick. Right now, he's all the way back in the 38th position, just trying to hold on to the next competition caution where they can try to work on this car even more.
Yeah, right now he's losing about 3/4 of a second a lap to our leader, Casey Kane. We do need to make note one more time, Casey Kane in the 9 leading this race by virtue of Kenny Francis electing to go with 2 right side tires, which I don't think was a bad move. The right side tires are the ones they're concerned about.
At second place, Ryan Newman working his way back toward the lead. Looking at Scott Riggs in the Stanley Dodge, who gives him plenty of room.
Nice job, Ryan. P2.
You know, honestly, we've talked about Hendrick Motorsports and Joe Gibbs Racing with this new car, the car tomorrow. But just looking at Ryan Newman there a second ago in the 12 car, it seems like over the course of the last few car tomorrow races, the Penske group, they're getting their arms around that car with Kurt Busch in the 2 and Ryan Newman in the 12.
And Larry, you know, we're talking about all these issues on our first pit stop. I mean, you know, people are running into each other. But look at this, Larry. This is trying to get on pit road. These cats back here, they just have to basically stop and wait to get through the toll gate.
But remember, that was one of the keys to the race. We talked about the entrance. We talked about how narrow it is. That was 42 cars on pit road at one time.
Dale Jr. and Jeff Gordon fighting for 4th. Remember, Jr. comes in here 11th in the Nextel Cup standings by virtue of that big 100-point penalty from Darlington.
Boy, Gordon really had to jump on the brakes down there to keep off of Dale Jr. When he did, he lost a lot of momentum and opened the door for Carl Edwards here to slide right by.
Dodge Chargers 1, 2, 3. Kane, Newman, and Riggs now. They're sailing ahead of Casey Kane under the Monster Bridge. 55, I think 55 or 60 seats up there. That's a high-priced real estate to watch the race from, but it's a thrill ride. And now here comes Junior stalking third place.
You know, talking about the Dodges, I think that was a big unknown and a big question after qualifying. They swept 3 of the top 4 positions, but the question was, could they stay up there? And right now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. just took the 3rd position away, but right now, Dodge is in 3 of the top 4 positions. Yeah,
and Casey Kane's car looks, you know, like the Kane of old.
The one that won 6 races last year.
Exactly.
Not the one that has struggled this year.
Looking very good right now, and good to see him out front leading some laps, and the car's handling well too. Straight up off the corner. That's a big key here.
Kane the leader. Here's the battle between Carl Edwards and Scott Riggs, 4th place.
That 99 car, Carl Edwards, I was just about to talk about him. He definitely seems to be one of the cars that's back on the move to the front, but I keep watching that Kellogg's car back there. Kyle Busch, that 5, he just keeps moving to the front, and right now his car is right around the bottom of the racetrack.
He can really pick the throttle up early, Larry. I notice he really leaps.
You know, we're not back on the air again until February. It gives us plenty of time to negotiate with Jimmy Spencer and see if we can take that Mr. Excitement title and hang it on Kyle Busch.
Are you sure you want to do that?
Why not? He's exciting to watch. He really is. Brian Vickers had a great race at Lowe's Motor Speedway a week ago, led more laps than Toyota had led the whole season, and he's strong here as well, 7th place.
And you know, I talked to his crew chief, Doug Richard, this week, and of course one of our big stories always at the beginning of the weekend is the top 35 in owner points. Remember, they have missed 6 races this year, but if they can tie a few good runs together, they're only 214 points out of the top 35. They can get there.
Ooh, Casey Kane.
54 laps complete. Dodges had led them all. Ryan Newman and Casey Kane. 41 cars on the lead lap. Jeff Green and Ricky Rudd are a lap down. Otherwise, a nicely uneventful but very competitive start at Dover.
I think we're less than a lap away from a lead change here. Ryan Newman in that 12 car, he just pulls to the bottom underneath Casey Kane. He's been about 0.3 of a second per lap faster than Kane.
Well, they're running, Mike, right now we're running 25 70s and 25 50s and 70s. I bet if you asked any of these guys that are in the field today, except for maybe Bill Elliott, Dale Jarrett, and a couple others, when's the last time they ran that speed around here? Most of these guys would say never, because they've always been in the 23s and 24s around here.
Doing good, man. About 9 more laps, still the yellow. I just feel like my tires are really worn out. Back's really slippery. 10-4.
Kenny Francis talking to Casey Kane. Kenny Francis, the crew chief.
That 88's got work to do. Ricky Rudd, he just needs to hang right there to be the first car on the lead lap and get the go around, the free pass, when that caution occurs.
Yeah, unfortunately, the problem, and you see that's what Ricky Rudd's trying to do, but they're just about to lap 3 or 4 other cars.
Now, Kyle Busch closed right up on Carl Edwards, and now he seemed to back it off just a touch.
Well, Mike, right now his car's just still a little bit tight. They made a track bar adjustment first time in, but the key thing was for Alan Gustafson and his entire crew was Kyle was very upbeat. He radioed back and told us, hey guys, I was listening to Darrell Waltrip, and the guy who started 19th the last 2 times has won this race. Guess where we're starting? So he's very positive, feels like he's got a good race car, but the key thing right now is for this crew to keep him kind of patient, make these early adjustments, and he'll find his way back to the front.
Yeah, I'm assuming whoever starts 19th's got a pretty good shot, or car 19. I'm not sure which.
Have you been over in the casino?
No, but I've had plenty of time to go.
That's true. All the things about the numbers.
I'd be broke by now if I'd have gone to the casino as much time as we had yesterday.
I'll give you a loan.
You know, a guy that just
they will too. That's a problem.
See Carl Edwards right now, the 9 car. We just heard him say 4 or 5 laps ago his car's really starting to slide around. He continues to lose positions, but as we just mentioned, we're about 5 laps away from that next competition caution. Trust me, this 9 car is looking forward to that.
Right behind them, Jeff Gordon and Brian Vickers running 6th and 7th. Matt.
Mike, early on, the team's just making it segment by segment. Right now, Jeff Gordon says his car extremely loose. They're working on some adjustments on the next competition caution. Meanwhile, while he runs in the 6th spot, Brian Vickers having a very solid run at 7th. He says his car is getting tighter and tighter. They're looking to free it up. They made just right side tire only on their last stop.
And that's one of the challenges with this racetrack being green, no rubber down on it. If your car is pushing or shoving the nose, you're going to wear the right front tire out. If it's loose like Jeff Gordon at 24, you got to be careful you'll start wearing the right rear tire out.
I tell you better be careful of that 12 car, because the 55 just is not going to give up. He doesn't want to go a lap down here this early in the race. And getting pretty aggressive here with the line he's running.
And here comes Junior.
And Junior's closing all the time because the 12, Brian Newman's being held up here. I think he's finally going to get the nose up there and make the pass.
Well, the good thing about Michael's position is we're only about 2 laps away from the competition caution. As you can see, it's a little ways back to the next car that's a lap down. That would be Jeff Green back there in the 66 car.
Well, I can tell you right now, Ryan Newman is starting to steam. And I'm not talking about out of the hood either.
Well, it looks like to me he's going to be on the verge of losing the lead, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. used Michael Waltrip. He was used as a pick, so Newman was able to pull away from both of them.
But now you see what Michael did. Once the leader got by him, once he's off the lead lap, he'll give some room, but he had to work hard trying to stay on the lead lap.
Right, because the car he's got to fight is Jeff Green, as Larry pointed out. 1 lap to the competition yellow. And teams will get to come in and make adjustments. And Matt, trouble brewing for Matt Kenseth.
Harvick still having his issues, Mike, and now Matt Kenseth has issues of his own. But Kenseth, his brake issue, he says the rear brakes continue to lock up. He says he has a weird sensation in the pedal. They may be looking at that as well when we get the next competition caution.
And there it is.
Daryl, it almost seems like, and there's the caution, every week that 17 car is fighting some type of brake issue.
And think about the number of times we've been to Martinsville, Pocono next week, the Roush cars seem to have a lot of brake issues.
I think he even had a complaint last week at Lowe's about some brake problems.
Remember, soft pedal. Darlington, remember? Soft pedal.
This is the second and final competition yellow of the day. It comes with 40 cars on the lead lap. Michael Waltrip will get the free pass. So let's answer. Let's see how you answer our AT&T Virtual Crew Chief question. 5/8 of you say no. Somebody else other than the Hendrick foursome will go to victory lane.
Pretty impressed, though, in that 35-lap run there, going back to Jimmy Johnson, the 48 car, had to start it basically at the rear of the field. He worked his way halfway through the field in 35 laps up to 22nd.
I call that wishful polling.
The last team to win 6 straight races, Petty Enterprises, 1967. 10 in a row, and what, 21 total that year? 27 victories total for Richard Petty's team. Of course, we used to run, what, 55, 60 races then.
That was a 60-some race season then. Yeah, let's see if these guys get bottlenecked up again here, trying to get through the toll booth down here.
Well, we potentially could have 40 cars on pit road now because we have the 3 cars that are a lap down. Michael Waltrip, Jeff Green, and Ricky Rudd. Jeff Hammond.
Yeah, right now, you take a look at Carl Edwards coming in. They're going to make some more adjustments to his car. His biggest concern is, guys, is the track is changing quite a bit, even during these short runs. He's really worried about him, Bob Osborne, what to do to the car for a long run, Matt.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. says his car was extremely loose on entry, but way too tight in the center. Going to make an air pressure change in the left side tires. The car looks good on the long run, Steve.
4 tires this time, Matt, for Casey Kane. Otherwise, no adjustments on the 9. The 12, meanwhile, he said his car was just a tick free in and a tick tight center off air pressure adjustment to the left side tires. Jeff.
The hood is up on Kevin Harvick and steam pouring from the Pennzoil Chevy. We'll update that and other stories when we come back to Dover. Welcome back to the Autism Speaks 400 presented by Visa at Dover International Speedway. There's Ricky Rudd a lap down, and you can see the leaders cycling through on Fox 3D. And this time, Johnny Sauter stayed out on track for 2 laps under caution, got his 5 bonus points for leading a lap, and then came to the attention of Booty Barker and crew.
I guess who got the lucky dog, which is just almost like a contradiction to me. I don't know how you say it.
Who's the unluckiest guy in show business this year? Michael Waltrip. Now, problem for Kyle Busch. He had to come in and make what we believe was a shock absorber change on the right front on his car. Now he's coming back in because he ran over the air hose exiting, and he'll make a penalty stop. And Matt, what was the problem with Kevin Harvick and the hood up?
Frank Matthew went under the hood and they found something amiss with one of the plug wires. They made that change. They feel like now Harvick should be good to go.
Yeah, the problem with the 5 car is he's on pit road. We're coming to the green flag. They have the hood up. He can't speed because if he speeds now, the penalty would be a drive-through penalty. So they just need to make sure he does not speed. Make sure you get this thing fixed. He's going to probably go a lap down, but we've got a long way to go in this race.
Yeah, that was pretty optimistic that you could change that shock and not lose a lap.
Turn up that volume on your surround sound, and let's crank it up for this restart at lap 71. Newman out front, Dale Jr. trying to run him down and take the lead, and that would be a rare sight here because Jr. has led only 2 laps at Dover over the last 3 seasons.
Speaking of 2, the 5 car right now, 2 laps down. He just didn't quite get out in front of the leaders. So you want to watch a man on a mission. He's going to try to get one of these laps back. Naturally, that way he'll only be 1 lap down and be in effort to get the free pass, Jeff.
It's actually the bump rubber that goes on the shock shaft. A lot of these teams run, so when they try to get the car to go down and ride around this racetrack, part of that fell out. That's the reason why he started hitting the racetrack after the green flag. They had to change the entire shock. They put another one on. Now they're going to deal with that because this shock is not exactly like the one they had on, so it may not be perfect. They're going to work with it. You know how Kyle Busch is. He'll drive anything as hard as he can.
I tell you, Jeff, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know what they put back on there, but it didn't hurt it any because he is up here trying to get around Junebug to go get up here and get after that leader. And I think he's going to make the pass.
And you saw on the left, big mistake by the crew. Crewman on the right side of the car waved him out of the pits. The air hose for the lug wrench had not been brought around the side of the car, and so that's why he had to come back.
Yeah, that happened before the last time he was on pit road, so the penalty was tailing the longest line. He pretty much served his penalty, but you just saw him drive around Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8. Carl Edwards as well did. That was a battle for position, and pretty much Kyle Busch just gave him a sign and said thank you.
Yeah, well, when you put a crew in a panic mode, you got to change the shock, which is totally unexpected. Then you have to expect the unexpected.
See Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, Martin Truex Jr. in the 1. We talked about him a while ago, right there up there battling for the 7th position.
Well, it paraphrases what you said last week. Expect the unexpected. Don't accept the unexpected.
No, that's exactly right. And he didn't. I mean, he's coming up here. He's going to chase down our little leader buddy and get one of those laps back, maybe.
Martin Truex, if he finishes this race, he can be a top 3 car here today. That car is right. It's his home track. He's focused. He He and his crew are ready to win this race.
You know, they've had a great race car so many races. You go back to Lowe's last week. They had a great race car. They were one of the cars that had to stop there near the end to take on fuel. Go back to Phoenix. He had a top 5 car there. Made a green flag pit stop late in the race. The caution comes out.
Jeff?
Mike, you guys were talking about the one car, Martin Truex Jr. He radioed his crew on that last stop, and he said, guys, I can drive this thing low all day long. And everybody knows if you can stay right around the bottom of this racetrack for 400 laps, well, more than likely, you'll probably be visiting victory lane before the end of the day.
Gets crowded down there on the bottom late in the day because everybody wants to be there.
Tell you what, though, if anybody wins this race today, I know we're not quite a fourth of the way. I believe they're going to have to beat that blue and white number 12 because he's in a zip code of his own right now, Ryan Newman.
You need to be fearless.
During the month of June, DeWalt will give you a free battery instantly with select purchases of 18-volt power tools. That's worth up to $90. So visit your local DeWalt retailer or go to DeWalt.com for details.
What did you see Matt there, though, when he come off the corner and the rear tires busted loose?
You can hear the RPM go up, couldn't you?
He put a DeWalt on it right there, I can tell you.
Kenseth running 5th. 2 Fords in the top 5 now. His teammate Carl Edwards 3rd, and Matt in 5th place.
Well, you know, 17 is my favorite number, and when I look at DeWalt, I just figure if you went ahead and put an RIP at the end of that, it'd be a perfect car for me.
DeWalt trip?
It's already, most of it's there.
You know, I'll call John Howland and ask him, but don't get your hopes up.
What a great idea.
DeWalt trip.
It's right on the hood. They just left part of it off.
At 91 laps, Ryan Newman. is in the lead. He has led 62 of the 91 so far. Steve Burns.
Hey, Mike, there are 4 former college athletes on this pit crew of Ryan Newman, including rear tire carrier Trent Jerry. Jerry was a 3-sport star in high school at Providence Day in Charlotte, North Carolina, and a classmate to Rusty Wallace's son, Greg. Trent Jerry played quarterback for Lenore Ryan College in Hickory, and while there, got an internship at Penske South Racing and has missed 1 race since 2000 with Ryan Newman.
Wasn't he the fellow last year in the introductions for the Nextel All-Star Challenge that dove into the mosh pit, which parted the seas as he was diving, and he got a little banged up?
The marsh pit didn't do their job for him.
Yeah, they weren't ready for that.
Well, I don't think he wanted to miss this race today, because the way the 12's running, there might be a little party at the end of this race.
Ryan Newman has led more laps today than he led in all the first 12 races of 2007. Dale Jr. 7/10 of a second back, and Carl Edwards 1.8 off the lead.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by AT&T, the leader in wireless. By Burger King, who reminds you to have it your way. By DirecTV, just say ride shotgun on race day with NASCAR Hot Pass, only on DirecTV. And by Ford, bold moves, they happen every day.
How many Nextel Cup points is this worth? You stay in last, 0. Come on, Matt. I thought you won Dover last year. Keep up.
Carl Edwards.
Oh, Carl.
Oh.
Isn't your dad named Nova? You get it? Novocaine.
Hey, kid, the way you're driving, you're blocking the road. You're going to get your butt spun out.
What do you got, your learner's permit?
102 laps complete, 25% of the way here at Dover International Speedway. Ryan Newman the leader, Carl Edwards now in second, Dale Jr. slipped to third, Casey Kane fourth, and Martin Truex has moved up into the top 5. Let's show you the change of second place.
It's like Carl Edwards in that 99. He just drives to the bottom of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Looks like Carl, the 99, his car seems like it's good. It doesn't fall off as much on the long run.
The other good news is it looks like that thunder cell we spoke of earlier is staying to the south of us.
Right rear flat.
Jeremy Mayfield, the 36 car with new crew chief David Hyder. You heard the transmission there. Right rear tire flat. Also, Jeff Green in the 66 car came to pit road a few laps ago for more adjustments on that car.
Go, 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 go. Clear all the way out. Clear all the way out.
You see the 21 on the left of your screen? That is Bill Elliott, and he right now is the first car 1 lap down in the Little Debbie's Ford, and he's in position to get the next free pass. Matt?
Crew Chief Michael Fatback McSwain is multitasking this weekend. At 5:23 p.m. on Saturday, Mike, he made the executive decision that he was going home. Wife Deanna was starting to experience labor pain, so Scott Zipadelli got the call to crew chief the car today. Fatback and Deanna are at the hospital starting at 6:30 this morning. She is in labor, so the baby back watch continues, waiting for little Michaela, her little brother Wyatt, to be born. And believe it or not, the 21 team has hooked themselves up technically that they can text message with Fatback. He is going to sneak out of the delivery room every so often to get an update of how the car is going. And right now, I don't think he'll be too pleased. But as big as this day is, he was not going to take a chance on missing it.
And I think that's the thing I'm seeing more and more people in our sport take a harder look at. It's no different than myself going back Saturday, missing our 2 practice sessions to be with my daughter Brooke for her graduation. I've heard Jeff Gordon say, I don't plan on missing a race, but I'm not going to miss the birth of my daughter either.
Well, this is a 7-day-a-week job these days. So if you're going to miss, you got to miss a day at work if you want to have a regular life.
And yes, Scott Zipadelli is Tony Stewart crew chief's Greg Zipadelli's younger brother.
Who actually crew chief John Wood in the Busch series.
I'm not sure about Matt's report there about baby back. I'm not sure about that.
One thing I am for sure, Carl Edwards in that 99 car, he just took the lead away from Ryan Newman in the 12 at the end of the backstretch going through turn 3 and 4.
And that is the first car other than a Dodge to lead a green flag lap here today. And there is Martin Truex moving past. Whoa, Junior, hang on to it.
Oh, yeah, I guess he's all right. Thought there for a second he had an issue.
He had to regroup there for a second.
He did, though. Seems like these cars will get away from you, but you're able to. I think Junior's got a flat tire, guys.
He's in trouble.
He's looking kind of weird to me.
Car's skatey going into the corner, climbed the hill.
36 just came to pit road with a flat right rear, and I swear I think Junebug, yeah, it's definitely got a flat right rear, guys.
Now the challenge will be able to find him a hole.
He'll be all right.
He has one coming up right now.
After the 11, if not sooner. Big hole now.
Couldn't have happened at a worse place for him. It happened off the 2, but he wasn't sure. So he made another lap, and boy, that's really put him behind the 8 ball here.
No pun intended, right?
No, not at all.
But you heard the call there by Tony Gibson. They're going to go ahead and do 4 tires. They just have to make no mistakes. Make sure you maintain 35 miles per hour down pit road, which is the pit road speed. We still have a long way to go, Matt.
And Larry, Mac, you hit on it perfectly. You don't want to take a bad situation and make it even worse by missing a lug or having a speeding on entry or exit on pit road. Just do your job. Dale Earnhardt Jr. said the car was loose on entry, and Ty just said it the last time in. They made left side air pressure adjustment, and that seemed to help the car. But now they've got to try to recover from this flat right rear tire.
We'll see when he gets back out on the racetrack.
2 down, Larry, I believe.
You can hardly make a pit stop here and not lose 1 3/4 to 2 laps.
He almost lost 1 before he even got to pit road because of making that lap before he determined it was definitely flat.
Fords have won 22 races at Dover International Speedway. Today is the 75th Nextel Cup race at Dover and the 25th race on the concrete surface. Carl Edwards has his Ford in the lead.
Carl likes leading at Dover, man. He just ran away with the Busch race the other day, and saw, you know, he was on our pre-race show yesterday, and he said, DW, this car's just as good, and he's proven it.
Again, Michael Waltrip fighting to try to stay on the lead lap.
Boxed him.
He and Allmendinger trying to keep from going a lap down.
Guys, I know we can keep talking about this, but I think it is something to talk about. Right behind that blue 12, Ryan Newman. Martin Truex Jr. in that one car started back in 26. He is just about to take over second place from Ryan Newman, looking for the lead in this one car.
But just watch him, Larry. Watch him on the 12. If the 12 opens that bottom up at all, he can get back in the throttle so much quicker and so much harder that he really shoots through the middle of the turn, which is what you want here. You really kind of double clutch it here. You drive it in, let off. Then you mat it wide open right there. Then you back off again and then get it wide open again to make time around that big turn.
That's a long day's work.
It is.
Matt, how about the tire off Dale Jr.'s car?
Well, we've seen some issues up and down pit road, Mike Joy, of excessive wear, and that's what we're seeing on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s right front. On the outer edge, he's down to the cords, but the right rear was flat, and the reason being, he had flat worn it out. Remember, the car was loose on exit, and he had just flat worn out that right rear tire all the way down to the cords, all the way across the top of the car case.
And that was the longest run that we've had because of those two competition cautions that we had earlier. And right now, we are a little over 20 laps away from when guys like Ryan Newman, Carl Edwards, Martin Truex Jr. should come to pit road.
If you want to slow a guy down, you want to slow a driver down, slow a car down, tell him your tires are wearing out. Oh, he'll back up big time.
And the wear will get better.
Oh, much better. Thank you.
Carl Edwards, your leader by 1.3 seconds.
I love to race.
Sunday Baseball returns. Coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific for your game of the week.
At Dover, Delaware, we've had a lead change. And as we discussed earlier in the show, Martin Truex Jr. from Mayetta, New Jersey, the former Busch Series champion, jumped under Carl Edwards and in his hometown race took the lead away.
And you see where that car is so much faster than everybody else's is right through the middle of the corner, right where you would really want to turn the wheel and get in the gas, and he's able to do that right now better than anybody.
Our DLP Ultimate Picture Cam today has gone to ground to show you what 24 degrees of banking looks like on the Monster Mile.
But you look back there, the straightaways bank 9 degrees. That's more banking than some corners have at some tracks. I tell you, another car that I've been watching besides Martin Truex Jr. in the one car is going back to who's running in 4th right now. Clint Boyer in the 07. Started back in 15th. He seems like his car is good on long runs. Trying to do triple duty here. It didn't last very long on Friday in the truck race, about a half a lap. But this car looks awfully good on long runs. Clint Boyer in the 07.
So Martin Truex is the new leader, and Carl Edwards' race pace seems to have backed up a little bit. What's up?
Mike, what's going on is that when you saw the 8 car come down pit road, everything was all good until Bob Osborne had a report that Junior had gone to the cords. About that time, Carl said, "Hey, Bob, my car's a little bit tight." He said, "Well, back it off a little bit. We've seen some cars come on pit road with the cords showing, so take it easy. We still got about 20 laps before we got to make a stop. Just pace yourself." Carl immediately backed up a little bit. Martin Truex took advantage of that. His car seemed to be pretty solid. Kevin Bonamania's pretty happy with his car. So just keep doing what you got to do, but be smooth with it. So right now, I think we got a pretty good race starting to shape up between the 99 and the 1.
And as a crew chief, Larry, I know you know this. You hate to tell the driver that we may have a tire issue, because that puts absolutely a chill all over that driver to think that he might have a tire issue on a tracks as fast as this one is.
You're right, Mike. I mean, Darrell, I would wait almost to the last moment to say, look, we have a little bit of a tire situation here, but you'd much rather him tell him that than talk to him walking out of the infield care center because he blew a tire and hit the wall.
Exactly.
A.J. Allmendinger making a stop in the Red Bull Camry, chassis adjustment and 4 tires.
And I think one reason you see him hit pit road a little bit early, we talked earlier, Chris Devoto talked about him sharing a pit with Johnny Sauter. They're going to get his stop out of the way, and then probably in a few laps, Krista, then you'll see the 70 in. But how about Denny Hamlin in that 11 car, Krista?
Hey, Larry Mack, I got to be honest with you. You haven't heard much from me because I'm having too much fun where I'm standing down here at the entrance of pit road, watching these cars work through the middle of 3 and 4. A lot of guys starting to peek out and work that high line. Denny Hamlin, not one of them. He is sticking to the bottom. Early in this run, his car was a bit loose. Now he's saying he's getting just a bit tight, about 3/4 of the way through the corner. But he feels like his car, and he told his crew chief Mike Ford, is A-OK.
Hamlin just moved into 10th place.
As that right front tire wears out, the car will become tight because it just had no grip. But remember one thing, on a green racetrack, tire wear improves throughout the race. So if you got an issue now, it'll get a little bit better and a little bit better. We got a little problem here. Got a caution on the speedway.
And it's Kyle Busch. Has got into the wall. He fell 2 laps down with that.
Right side. Take right side tires off. Let's take that right side out. Look at that lower when you're changing the shock. Open the hood. Get that top piece of the shock out.
Darrell, at most tracks, we'd say he pancaked it.
But here, I guess we would say he
crab caked it.
Crab caked it. Good point.
But his car just never turned there on the exit of the corner, and you can see he actually hit that car, or he crab caked it pretty hard.
But you know, I still am impressed with how these right sides are hanging in there with all that foam and stuff in the right side of these cars when they hit the wall. The right side's not all caved in. The sheet metal's not on top of the tires. That's good stuff.
And as Larry said at the top of the show, we have yet to see anyone go to a backup car with the new car.
And that includes between practice and qualifying at Darlington last month. I think we had 22 cars get up there and get into the wall. Nobody had to go to a backup, though.
I think that big old wing in the side plates keeps these cars from spinning out. And the rest of the time you just chase them up the hill. Maybe you scrape the wall, but you don't spin them out and back them up in the fence and tear them up.
Joe Nemechek in the higher Chevrolet was the first car 1 lap down. He will get the free pass. And we should note that Jimmy Johnson, who was in the back on the last restart, clawed his way up to 13th before that caution flag.
And about the wing, back in the day on the old Dodges, back in the, you could blow the rear tires out with that rear wing. So there's a lot of force back there.
Krista?
Mark Martin likes his car. He started 21st. He's up to 8th. He just wants it to be a little more free on the long run. They're going to do that by putting back a ½ pound in the right rear. Jeff.
Right now, our leader, Martin Truex Jr., told his crew he'd like to have just a little bit freer car at the start of the run so it doesn't tighten up quite so much at the end. But other than that, he's really happy with his car. Steve?
Ryan Newman is tight for the middle off, Jeff. They're going to make a track bar adjustment and a wedge adjustment. Let's go to Matt.
And service has already been completed on Jeff Gordon's Chevrolet. They made both a track bar and wedge adjustment. He said the car, he'd lost the handle on exit. It was just way too free.
The challenge of pit road is getting easier now because we only had 24 cars on there that time. It's a little more uniform looking.
Third caution of the day, the first one for a competition accident. It's Kyle Busch in turn 2.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by SalesGenie.com. 100 free sale leads at SalesGenie.com. By State Farm. Great service, great rates. Nobody takes care of you like State Farm. By Wendy's. Hot and juicy burgers that are made to order. That's right. And by Toyota. Moving forward.
Ready for the restart. Will complete 140 laps. Mayetta, New Jersey's Martin Truex, whose father, uncle, grandfather have all been involved in the sport of auto racing, takes the green flag and heads off for turn 1 as the leader.
We didn't get off that corner very well, and that left the bottom open there for Vickers. And Vickers is going to try to get one of his laps back.
Yeah, he's 2 down. Now he would be only 1 down, and so he would definitely love to see a caution right now as he actually pulls away from those guys as they're running side by side for the lead.
Well, this is a little tough for Truex because he's been on the bottom of the racetrack all day. Having a lineup on the outside put him in kind of uncharted waters for a few laps.
I think what it is his car is a long run car. Not going to be real good on these restarts maybe for a lap or 2 or 10, whatever, but it gets better the longer it goes.
J.J. Yaley, second last week, coasting down the pit lane now.
We're hearing that they made a slight adjustment on the one car, trying to free him up. Hope they didn't go too far.
Yeah, but it sounds like maybe possibly he's going to be just a little free here at the early going, hoping it'll come to him here on into this run.
Oh, Krista, what has made JJ's day a short one?
A ripped shock mount. They ripped the shock mount from out underneath the car. They're going to be right back out, guys. They went back to the garage to fix it, and they'll be right back out on the track.
And the reason is, Mike and Larry, you know this, is the shock packer, the piece of rubber that they're running on the bottom of the shock to hold these cars up. I'm sure it's putting a lot of extra pressure on that shock mount.
Yeah, and we talk about the unknowns. You know, all of these chassis, for the most part, are brand new chassis because you don't take a car tomorrow body and put it on one of the existing chassis because it's different too.
It's just more of that learning experience with this car. Every week, every race right now with this car is almost like a test. It's an actual in-race test for most all these teams.
And I think we knew this was going to be the ultimate test here at Dover.
This is one of the tough ones.
Dale Jr. 2 laps down after a cut tire and wearing another one through to the court. He was probably lucky he cut the one because if the other had worn completely through, he would have been in the fence.
In the box that he's in right now with this 8 car being 2 laps down, with us getting these long green runs, our leader just keeps lapping more cars and put him further and further away from getting a free pass being 2 laps down.
Jimmy Johnson has had to fight his way back from an extra pit stop under caution, and he's now up to 13th.
But he's fighting because he restarted the race back on lap 70, back in 36th position, and here he's almost made his way back to the top 10.
That's no big deal for him. Remember last year what happened to him and where he started? Spun that baby out qualifying. He started dead last.
Had to share a pit for the first part of the race.
Kind of eased his way right through the field and took the lead eventually.
Let's go to Jeff Hammond for today's State Farm Safety Report on the spotters.
We've been talking about roll cages and Dow energy absorbing foam, fuel cells, all kind of components and parts that kind of lend itself to safety. But probably the most important thing that NASCAR ever did could it be the spotters. You see them up there high above the racetrack, keeping these guys in safe positions, we hope. What they're up there for is to make sure that when there's a wreck in front of these guys, they try to tell them what direction they need to go in. And one thing a lot of people don't realize, that in all 3 of NASCAR's elite divisions, no race truck or car is allowed on the race truck unless your spotter is in position. And that's what we call taking care of business when it comes to safety. Mike?
Thanks, Jeff. Here's Martin Truex closing back in on race leader Ryan Newman. Newman's led 87 of 149 laps so far.
And spotters, we used to use spotters, but not because they were required, but because when we were trying to win a championship with Junior Johnson, we wanted him to tell us where trouble was around the racetrack. And so they were not up there necessarily to help us drive the cars. Look at these guys today. They've got to have somebody helping them because they're encased in these seats the way they are. They don't have any peripheral vision. So they got to have somebody with some extra set of eyes outside watching for them.
Yeah, and they can't turn and do what your driver ed teacher called a head check to see what might be gaining on them.
Yeah, in the early 80s, we would take a brother-in-law or a cousin that would come to the race, stick him on top of a hauler or a camper in the infield, say, if you see trouble, tell the driver, other than that, keep your mouth shut. Don't say a word.
Inside.
It's all different now.
Clear.
A lot of this stuff's all coming back to me now. It's like, operator, please connect me to 1982. These cars are starting to remind me of 1982, and life was good in 82.
It was good. You won that championship.
Casey Mears, last week's winner, struggling a bit. He has spent a lot of this race down on the bottom of the page, but he's now climbed into the top 20.
Well, he had that problem on pit road. Remember, he got run into and had some issues. Bouncing back, though.
But as few of cautions that we've had, I'm sure Darian Grubb, Casey Mears, they're glad to be in this position. They're doing what Darrell talked about at the top of the show. Race the elements. Don't race the competitors, and they're hanging out there in the lead lap, because I know he's not been very happy with that car since they unloaded on Friday.
Mears tracking Jamie McMurray, who celebrated a birthday today. Here's Clint Boyer in the 07, working on Casey Kane. This is for 4th place, Steve.
Yep, Clint Boyer started 15th up into that top 5. He told Gil Martin, his crew chief, it takes me too long for the car to come in. Once it comes in, I'm great. Just give me a little something. From that last stop, they added air in the right front and the left rear.
I was going to say, that's a product of starting too low on air pressure. You know how much it's going to build up, especially here on this concrete surface. You tend to start it very low because of that, but it can certainly hurt you on the short run at the beginning of a run.
I've been watching Tony Range and Jeff Burton. They have been wearing each other out. There's a little grudge match going on there. One will get in front of the other, and they'll bang into him, and he'll get behind, and the other will chase him down and get back ahead of him again.
And it is for position for 14th place.
What? They got a little something going on here. I'm not sure what. This is not the first time this has happened. Bam. And these cars are cool about these cars. You can do that, and it doesn't wreck the guy in front of you. It's kind of like just a little wake-up call.
The bumpers match each other. It's not like the front bumper is way lower than the rear bumper like on the car we've been racing.
If they didn't do anything else, if they took the car we got now and squared up the bumpers where they matched up the way they do on these cars, that would be a big improvement.
But Tony Raines, that 96 car, he's been good ever since we unloaded. He was fast in practice on Friday.
For the lead, Martin Truex Jr. It took him a while after this restart, Darrell, but I think you're right. That is a car for long runs. Truex is back in the lead, and Boyer has passed Casey Kane for 4th.
They're on their game today, boys. I mean, Bono down there has made some good calls. That little adjustment they made to the car, little air pressure adjustment, has helped it a little bit more.
It's Kevin Mannion, Martin Truex Jr.'s crew chief.
And for the long haul, baby.
158 down, 2:42 to go. You're watching NASCAR on Fox from Dover. 66 laps complete in the Autism Speaks 400 presented by Visa. Not only do our Fox 3D guys have all of today's new paint schemes on the cars, they even have the new addition to the Dover Downs Hotel that will double its capacity, and the DuPont Monster Bridge.
That's a cool place to watch a race right there now.
Yes, it is.
Because just doing the walkover bridge down at the other end down there in turn 2, when these cars go under there, the noise and the sound and the thing shakes like an airplane taking off.
We see Brian Vickers in the 83 car trying to fight to stay in front of Martin Truex Jr. Remember, he had to make a pit stop before that last caution because he wore one of his tires out. So he's trying to stay just 1 lap down. Truex gets by him. He's back to 2 laps down. He would be in the same box as Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kyle Busch because we have so many cars a lap down that would get the free pass.
I think his car is just the opposite of Martin's. Then the one car there, Brian's car kind of goes away after a while, and Martin just keeps getting better and better in the one there.
So Ryan Newman is second, 0.8 of a second behind Truex. Carl Edwards is third, right on Newman's tail. Then it's Clint Boyer, Tony Stewart, Casey Kane on back, looking for the 24 of Jeff Gordon, our Nextel Cup points leader. He is in 12th, Matt.
The car was awesome the first 25 laps, but then they've gone way to the extreme on loose. A lot of conversation between Letarte and Gordon. Steve Letarte going back to notes from 2006 and 2007 to try to fix the issue. Here's the conversation.
Our notes here from last year was the old car, that the rubber didn't help. So that was a different tire, different car, different thing.
Well, we got that baby to turn. If we can never get it some grip back there, we'll be flying.
That's why I'm just dropping the right rear air out of sight. That's what helped us at Darlington. Hopefully it'll help us here. We're going to have a lot of opportunity to work on it. A lot of opportunity for the guys to take themselves out.
It sounds like they put a rubber in the right rear to make it turn. And it's combinations of things. One thing creates something else. So now we got a rubber back there, the car will turn. Now we got to lower the right rear air pressure to give it some grip. So you got it turning, now you can work on giving it some rear grip.
But you can hear Steve Letarte kind of going back and forth between, okay, what worked here last year when we ran the old car and relating to something that happened at Darlington a few weeks ago when they actually raced this car tomorrow. They're starting to build their notebook with data with this new car, the car tomorrow.
Here's a guy right here I've been watching, Larry. I don't want him to slip up on this because he will do it every week. Mark Martin's riding along in 8th place, minding his own business. We hardly even notice him being out there. He ought to be camouflaged, but he's holding his own. And Krista, what is he saying about his car?
Well, BW, camouflage would work. It's the U.S. Army Chevrolet. You guys have been talking a lot about number 1 of Martin Truex. What's the other Martin? The 01 of Mark Martin that is just silently doing his job. He said this car was a little bit free on this when it started out on this run. It's coming to him now. He likes where his car is. And remember, he's been very successful this track. 4 Cup wins, a Busch win, and a truck win. The only guy who's won in all 3 series. He said the success here to get your car turning through the corner, and that's exactly what his is doing right now.
And I think I'm correct, Larry. He has 6 second-place finishes here, Mark Martin.
And he's won 4 times.
And he's won here. And you know what? It's kind of interesting to me. He was not happy when he ran his car at Phoenix. He told his crew, he said, I am lost with this thing. I don't know what it wants. So he has really, really stepped it up to figure out what that car needs.
Remember, too, Darrell, Phoenix was his first race in the new car. He did not race at Bristol or Martinsville prior to Phoenix.
And I think the big story that we will continue to follow on this 01 Mark Martin Army car is, remember, he's not running the whole schedule, but he comes in here 14th in the points. We're halfway through the race to the chase. Trust me, they keep having runs like this week in and week out. Mark Martin could make the chase and not run all the races because it's not a requirement. You have to run them all. Just be in the top 12 in points at the end of 26.
making a mockery of Miles the Monster. Martin Truex has opened up a lead of 1.8 seconds over Carl Edwards. Chevy versus Ford versus Ryan Newman's Dodge in the top 3 positions.
Now this is when you got a great car, you can win, be patient.
Jeff Burton being patient back at 16th position. He's kind of had an up and down day, and he is the subject of our DLP amazing moment. Last fall here, Jeff broke a 175 race winless streak dating back to Phoenix 2001, and in his 26th try got his first Dover win, and away from former teammate and runner-up Matt Kenseth. And a big celebration there in Gatorade Victory Lane. Jeff Burton, today's DLP amazing moment.
And then I'm sure you saw in the pre-race show yesterday, his wife takes the trophy home, takes Miles home, and drops him and busts him.
It obviously doesn't mean 7 years bad luck.
No, it doesn't, but he needs a replacement. And
that was a big old trophy for that little bitty lady to be carrying around.
Listen, you know how Hammond is, you know how muscular he is. He actually grunted picking the thing up.
Bobby Labonte started 3rd today in the Cheerios 43, and now he's gone a lap down. So that leaves us 20 cars on the lead lap, the last of whom is Sterling Marlin.
Do need to mention, though, that we're only 12 laps away from halfway. J.J. Yaley is back out on the racetrack, 28 laps down. All 43 cars that started this race are out on the racetrack right now.
Last year at this race, of course, the lucky dog helps us a lot, but we had 21 cars that finished this race last year on the lead lap.
Martin Truex has led 48 of them so far. Brian Newman has led the most laps today, 96. Let's check with Jeff Hammond.
Guys, you keep talking about how good the one car is. Well, just a moment ago, he called into his crew chief, David Bono Mannion, and said, guys, this thing's just getting better and better and better. And that's bad news for the competition, because a lot of the guys right now feel like they're getting their cars to where they want it, like the 20 car Tony Stewart. But when you hear that the one car is just getting better and better, that's not good news unless you're working for the one.
Well, Jeff, and I know the car is awesome, and he's out front by a good bit, but that 99's not that far behind. The 12's back there not too far behind. You better not get comfortable with what you got. You better keep up with the changes.
Let's give a call out to Robby Gordon in this 7 car. Now, he qualified 33rd, but as you saw at the top of the show, he had to go to the rear of the field because of the engine change, and he was not even here Saturday to practice. He went to Baja. P.J. Jones actually practiced his car in race trim on Saturday. Robby just cracked the top 15 up in 15th position. Great run from the back without a lot of cautions to aid him here in this 7 car.
He needs a great run, Larry, because he is just sliding down the point ladder. He was up in the top 20 there for quite a while, but been taking a dive here lately.
Yeah, he came in here 33rd, Darrell, just above the danger zone. So he's logged, what, about 6,000 air miles and 900 race miles this weekend, plus practice.
Yeah, I just talked about him moving in the top 15, which is a great run for him. But the problem, we're not having a lot of cautions. And right now, Martin Truex Jr. is only 5 seconds behind him for putting him a lap down.
Truex keeps on wheeling. He's now 3.7 seconds ahead of Carl Edwards. halfway in the Autism Speaks 400 presented by Visa. With Darrell Waltrip and Larry McReynolds, I'm Mike Joy. When we went to commercial, Martin Truex was 3.7 seconds ahead of Carl Edwards. He has padded that lead by a full second in the last 2.5 minutes. And look, he's led more laps today than is in his entire Nextel Cup career coming into today.
Yeah, and this car is exactly what a driver loves to drive. It gets better the longer you run it. And it gets better the longer you go, and everybody else gets worse. So you just keep chipping away and pulling away.
But I think the thing that this team, they have to be so careful. We're about 10 or 12 laps away from what would be some green flag pit stops. With half this race to go, just don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't get too aggressive with adjustment. And with this kind of lead, be even a little conservative on pit road. Just don't beat yourself like we talk about all the time.
Man, when you're comfortable like they are with the car and when the lead they have, be cool. Chill, baby, chill.
Brian Newman started on pole. He's led 96 laps. He is in third, and his Penske Dodge teammate Kurt Busch is in 10th. Let's check with Steve.
Mike, you guys have talked about how this racetrack is changing. Brian Newman's been talking about being tight in the center or tight off. He just recently told his crew, I need more overall grip. Now I'm loose getting in the corner.
Problems for Dale Jr. yet again. He cut a tire down earlier, wore one down to the cords, made an unscheduled stop. He is 2 laps down and going further.
This is about how far in that last run that he had a problem.
Guarantee you, look at the right rear, she's soft. He's wearing that right rear tire out.
Of course, what this team needs is it to go cycle through all these green flag stops. That way he'd be back to just 2 laps down.
2, there we go.
Soft right rear, Darrell, you called it. And didn't see any cord showing on the right sides, but he will fall probably to 4 laps down.
They're all the way out, all the way out.
There you're still on the left side of your screen, though. Martin Truex Jr. just put Jeff Burton in the 31 car a lap down. Jeff is running in 17th position. Again, the guy that won the race here in September, but with the other car. Burton ran second to Kyle Busch at Bristol with the car tomorrow, but it's like since then, they just hadn't completely put their arms around it.
Car wasn't very good at Phoenix when they ran it there. They've had some issues with this car since Bristol. But Jeff Burton Bristol is a driver's racetrack. You know, some drivers just have a knack for getting around there.
And Darrell, I think we've been talking a lot yesterday during the pre-race and today. I think this was a real test for this car because of the speeds and the fact that, you know, it's not like Darlington where certain drivers just get around it better than the others.
Boy, Martin Truex just had an issue with Juan Pablo Montoya in the bottom groove, and Darrell, they almost got together in turn 4.
Yeah, they did. I mean, Martin got a nose under him, and Juan came down a little bit, and Martin just poked him. And I just think that's something that Martin needs to really get his hands on here. Just be careful. Don't do anything foolish. Why you want to, you know what I always say, don't race people that can't beat you.
Montoya was trying to stay just 1 lap down. Truex trying to put him a 2nd lap down, and he will indeed do that.
You can get by him. When the opportunity comes, get by him clean. Don't take any chances.
Especially with a 3 to 4 second lead.
Hey, you 10 to go and you got somebody chasing you down, poke it in there and go, but not now.
Now there is Carl Edwards, and he has closed to 3.2 seconds due to the difficulty Truex had in getting around the Haviland car.
But now that Truex is back in clean air, back in clean traffic, Truex just beat him 0.2 of a second that lap.
You know, we got some players up here that, you know, that need to run good and win.
Real early and back on it early.
You got Truex up here, you got Edwards, you got Boyer, Ryan Newman. There's 4 guys right there that really would like to win this race today.
And we got a couple of guys up there looking for their very first win right now. Martin Truex Jr. and Clint Boyer running in 3rd.
And after last week, the impossible dream might just come true. Again.
188 laps to go. Martin Truex 3.6 ahead of Carl Edwards and 6.2 ahead of Clint Boyer as he works on Robby Gordon.
I think here's the thing, these guys are going to have to be so careful. We're just about to the point where we're going to start making green flag stops. We talked at the top of the show, one of the most treacherous entrances that we have on the circuit. We watched Matt Kenseth a couple of years ago just center the tires coming on the pit road. You can't have that kind of mistake here because right now you have no grip in these tires.
You see Casey Mears is in, so is Joe Nemechek and Sterling Marlin. Jeff?
Mike, a minute ago, Larry was talking about how drivers need to make sure they get their hand signals up and be careful getting out on pit road. Just a moment ago, crew members from the 55 car of Michael Waltrip came over to Martin Truex's pit and said, guys, when are you pitting? Because we're getting close. So they're trying to respect the fact that they're leading the race and they don't want to be on pit road.
And when Gordon had radioed his team, he felt like he had worn out the right front tire. They have pulled a spring rubber. A crew member falls. Kevin Gilman slips coming around the car, slipped on the hose. Gordon finally down and away. It's going to be interesting to take a look at that right front tire. He felt like the car was way too tight and worn it out. Steve?
The 9 car of Casey Kane will head to pit road as you see Jeff Gordon in the 24 exit. They're going to pull a spring rubber out or in the right rear spring of Casey Kane. They're also going to go down on the track bar. He says that his car is getting very tight. Meanwhile, the 12 car of Ryan Newman. Remember moments ago I said his car had been tight. Now he's saying he needs overall grip as Martin Truex Jr. hits pit road.
And guys, he just about missed the entrance to pit road. He was so close to being sideways in that one car, but he did get it saved and he did make it.
You know, he had an issue here one time in Dale Jr.'s Busch car and hit that wall down there. Or indeed, yeah, Busch car. Jeff.
You know, right now, Darrell, they're trying to get these tires on and off real quick. A little air pressure adjustment. They love the race car right now, Darrell. The key thing was, Kevin says, don't beat ourselves. Be smooth getting on pit road and getting off.
Tony Stewart gets 4 tires. So does Jimmy Johnson and Denny Hamlin. Here comes Carl Edwards. Jeff.
And once again, the 99 comes in a little bit short on his sign right there, guys. But they're going to pull a windshield tear off, make this another little minor adjustment. Again, he likes his car an awful lot, but Bob Osborne keeps telling him, let's keep looking at these tires and keep up the racetrack, and away he goes.
Kurt Busch is in, and here comes Clint Boyer, who assumed the lead when Truex made his pit stop.
And this is when we potentially could have a problem out on the racetrack. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm not sure who that is. I think that may have been Ricky Rudd. Just about missed the entrance to pit road. But Steve, how about Boyer?
Larry Mack, that Chevrolet must be good for Clint Boyer because there will be no adjustments. Shane Westerberg and Jake Lynn, the tire changers on that 07. No adjustments to that Chevrolet.
What I was going to say is we see Kyle Busch in the 5, he's headed to pit road, is this is when we have a problem on the racetrack. You have so many cars on fresh tires, so many cars on old wore-out tires, and the approach rate is so fast. Till we cycle through, trust me, we are flirting with a potential problem here. We talked about Martin Truex Jr. in this one car. We talked about the entrance of pit road. Watch right here. He comes down off the banking. You can see him get sideways there. He saved it, and he just starts creeping down there, and he just barely makes it in there before that commit cone. So that potentially could have taken him right out of this race.
We've been green since lap 140, so Matt, that's a full fuel tank green flag run. How do tires look?
Mike, we've showed you how Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s right rears have looked extremely worn out, but the tires that came off Jeff Gordon's number 24 Chevrolet looked great. He was concerned that the car being so tight, he had completely worn out and might be down to the cords on the right front, but they look good.
But as Darrell mentioned, now we're starting to get some rubber down, and the tire wear will only get better. I think the only problems we had during that run was Mayfield in the 36, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8.
So we cycle through pit stops of the 15 cars that are on the lead lap. And Martin Truex Jr. emerges the leader over Carl Edwards now by 4 seconds.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Napa Auto Parts. Napa, get the good stuff. By the Comcast Triple Play, the best in TV, phone, and internet. By Pizza Hut, want more taste? Get it from America's favorite pizza. And by Allstate, official insurance sponsor of NASCAR.
Martin Truex Jr., your race leaders, had a hard time trying to put Casey Mears one lap down. Mears is fighting him to stay on the lead lap, and that is taking away some of what was a 4-second lead over Carl Edwards for Truex. Only once in the history of this race has a driver from the Northeast won. Jeff Bodine, 21 years ago. There is Edwards in second, 3.5 seconds back. After 2 competition yellows for the green racetrack, while pole sitter Ryan Newman and Casey Kane traded the lead back and forth, Carl Edwards put his Ford out front for a while, and then along came the former Busch champion and the #1, Martin Truex from New Jersey. He has now almost led the most laps, while his teammate Dale Jr. has only led 2 laps here in the last 3 years, and that number's not going up. Jr. has cut down a tire on 2 occasions and made unscheduled pit stops. Only 1 caution flag for cause. Kyle Busch slamming the wall coming up and off turn #2. He was able to repair and continue. So it's Truex after 233 laps over Edwards by 3 seconds, and Clint Boyer 1 more second back. Then pole sitter Ryan Newman and Tony Stewart in 5th. You're watching the Autism Speaks 400 presented by Visa on Fox. skies are clearing in Dover, Delaware. 160 miles to go in the Autism Speaks 400 presented by Visa. And Martin Truex Jr. has had the field in his hand. Carl Edwards 3.5 seconds back. Not much change there. Clint Boyer 4.5 back. Ryan Newman and Jimmy Johnson is now in the top 5. Tony Stewart has slipped to 7.
Mike, this will not be the first time that we've seen this here at Dover International Speedway. We have these long green runs, and guys just do not have many opportunities to make their car better.
Darrell, we got a lot of fellows who are looking for their first win, and we've had one last week. We got a bunch of them up front today.
Yeah, I think if somebody said who's the next first-time winner, certainly Martin Truex and Clint Boyer would be the first two names you'd think of. And boy, they're both poised right here today to get the job done, particularly Martin in that one car. What an awesome machine he's driving today.
Our singular virtual crew chief question: will a first-time winner end up in victory lane today? Yes or no? Text the message crew to 191 from your AT&T or Singular wireless phone, or go to foxsports.com and let us know.
And two things I want to mention, especially I think when I look at the one car, the 99, the 07, the 12, now the 48 car, Jimmy Johnson, is I think a couple of things will be going on here. As you can see, it's getting lighter. The sun is actually starting to pop through. It's going to heat this racetrack, and I think it's getting more and more rubber. We still potentially have at least 2 more pit stops. I think these guys, they just got to make sure they make the right adjustments, but not too much or too little.
Yeah, I just think you got to be careful now. Like you said, the sun coming out, you got to be careful with what you got. Don't get comfortable with it. You better be thinking ahead.
One thing we've not had a lot to think about in recent years here at Dover is driver fatigue. But Jeff, what's the story developing on the number 40?
What's going on right now, Mike, is David Strimmy is sick on his stomach, and he's going to have to get out of the 40 car. And they ran up and down pit road, and they finally found Regan Smith, who was, sharing driving duties with the 01 car, Mark Martin. He was up on the pit box, and they've asked him to go down to the garage area, get into uniform, bring a helmet back up here, and relief drive for David Strimmy at these final laps. So expect the driver change on the 40 here as quick as he can get back.
There was once a day here at Dover when journeyman driver Dick May from Watertown, New York, drove 5 different cars in one 500-mile race. He drove in relief for one driver. That car broke. He sat on the pit wall till somebody else called. He drove 5 different cars in that race.
Mike, this place would bring you to your knees. I've been in the shower here after a race, laying in the floor in the bathroom. All of us would be with the showers on, just laying there trying to get some relief. This place will bring you to your knees. I don't care who you are.
And usually you'd look for a driver who'd fallen out of the race.
Well, we don't have one.
No.
We potentially may have one that will be in the garage area. Darrell and I have been listening for the last few laps with Dale Jarrett and his UPS 44 car coming down the front stretch. Let's listen to it. I think this will tell the tale.
Clear by about 15. No, I got no water pressure here. 10-4.
And remember, he had engine failure at Lowe's last week of this 44 car, and there you see him with the hood up as he continues to go laps down. And Dale Jarrett needs some good runs to try to get back to the top 35 in owner points, but not going to happen here.
Did it feel like fuel or ignition, DJ?
It seems like ignition.
Dale Jarrett on pit road. Martin Truex Jr. continues to lead, and Carl Edwards is closed a little bit. He's 3 seconds back.
NASCAR on Fox is brought to you by DeWalt.
Get with the system.
DeWalt, guaranteed tough.
Matt Kenseth hanging tough in 7th place right now. You get a free battery instantly with select purchase of DeWalt 18-volt tools. Promotion ends June 30th. Go to DeWalt.com for details. Martin Truex Jr. at 257 laps has now led more laps than anyone today, and more laps than he has led in his Nextel Cup career. Carl Edwards is closing, though, 2.2 seconds back.
I mean, right now it looks like Carl Edwards in the 99 car is the only one that can at least keep a view of this one car. We're about 30 laps away from what would be the next scheduled green flag stop. There you see him. He is about a half of a straightaway behind Martin Truex Jr. in the one.
I got some sad news, Larry. Bill France Jr., who became NASCAR's president, taking over from his dad in January 1972, who brought this sport to Madison Avenue and to millions of America on network television, has passed away this afternoon. He remained president of NASCAR till November 2000, when Mike Helton took over the position. Bill's son Brian is now NASCAR's chairman, but he remained very active as vice chairman and always had a voice and a hand in the running of this sport. He was 74 years old and passed away about 1 o'clock this afternoon peacefully. His impact on the sport is incalculable. And these great grandstands that rise to the sky, weekly races on television, and cars festooned with supermarket-style sponsors are all due to his hard work. stretch. A 4-car jam session that we've been watching for a lap or two has ended up with Kurt Busch in the wall in the number 2. He was racing with Tony Stewart, Greg Biffle, and younger brother Kyle.
That was predictable. I mean, these guys were not cutting each other any slack, and they'd been doing it for a number of laps, and it was going to happen sooner or later.
This was coming off turn 4.
Now, Tony had already passed Kurt a couple of times, and he passed him back, and this time he just didn't. Kurt tried to come up in front of Tony, and he said, we're not having any part of that.
Yeah, there was not a lot of give and take right there.
Not at all.
Denny Hamlin in the midst of that as well. Isn't this about the 3rd time, at least the 3rd time this year, that those 2 cars, beginning at the Daytona 500, have crashed together?
Here they are racing each other pretty hard, and you see Biff run in there and bump the back of Kurt. Now Kurt gets a run underneath Tony Stewart here, and he thinks he's probably got him cleared, or at least he needs some room up. Ain't gonna happen. So as we watched this, we almost knew that was going to be the result.
Like you say, Darrell, they've been this group of 4 right there. They've been going at each other for several laps.
And they were running great. I mean, they were running the top 10. All those cars were.
Yes, from 8th place on back. Other than the 5, who was laps down.
This off turn 2 here. The Biff gives it to a little shot, and he said, go on, man, get by that guy.
Still clear.
All right, I'm going to go. I got him. He's going to give me some room. He's going to give me some room. It's what?
Easy. Back it down. Easy. Nobody right on you. Let him get out of the way. Easy. Go to the bottom. Clear. Back it down. Stay low now. All clear low. You're right, got one low. Clear now.
Pit road is open. Krista.
For Jimmy Johnson, it's going to be a chassis adjustment to the left rear and an air pressure adjustment on the right front. They also need to be very careful with the front splitter. A little bit of damage on the splitter. Jeff.
Well, right now, Martin Truex says, I don't want a lot of adjustment here, Bono. Just give me just a little bit. Car's pretty good. Guys are smart. They're right on right now. Steve are coming down pit road. Steve.
Jeff Clint Boyer said he was tight on throttle, air out of the left rear. Meanwhile, Ryan Newman says the balance is good. Free it up. Matt.
The only thing that saved Matt Kenseth on that run of his car was so tight in the center, it was so loose on entry. He would pitch the car sideways to get it to rotate through the center. Robbie Reiser backed up on the wedge and also backed up on the air pressure change they had made on the previous stop.
We always talk about how important qualifying is. When you look right there, Ryan Newman, he gained 3 spots. Reason? He's in that very last pit box leaving pit road. He wins the battle.
Don't worry, it'll be fixed for next week.
NASCAR XL Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by UPS, official delivery company of NASCAR.
UPS delivers the chance to manage your own free fantasy auto racing league. Go to foxsports.com. This is only the second caution of the day for contact or an on-track incident, but both have involved the Busch brothers. Kyle, the first one, and Kurt crashes in this one. Tony Stewart comes to pit road, and then Kurt Busch comes in as they're looking at the damage to Stewart's car. Kurt comes up to offer his opinion.
And guess what? That got the 2-car parked
for the day.
Meet me at the Oval office, please.
Yeah, it's nothing to play around with there with crew members out there that basically have no protection.
Steve Burns.
Mike, here's the update that we know down here in the garage. Crew Chief Troy Raker has summoned his crew to the transporter. He said if you're not working on that race car, come to the transporter immediately. And it is our understanding that NASCAR may meet them in there for a meeting.
Let's go back to the incident that, Darrell, we were watching. Trouble was brewing for more than a lap, so we've backed this up.
Yeah, these 4 guys, 22, the 11, and the 16, they have been all over each other. But really and truly, the 2 of Kurt Busch and the 20, they passed each other a couple of times prior to this. Now here's where Greg Biffle runs up here, and he gives Kurt a shot right there. That kind of is a wake-up call to Kurt. I got to go. I got to get by Tony. So he gets underneath of him, and I'm sure right there the spotter saying, clear up, clear up, clear up. No, no, no. Too late. And then Tony he
finished the deal off.
Pushed him on out of the way.
Now, Busch had sufficient damage to go to the garage. Stewart's car was under repair on pit road as Busch was on his way there. And there goes the 2 crew, led by Crew Chief Troy Raker. We're under caution for the 4th time today in Dover.
Today's race on Fox is sponsored by DLP. HD TV powered by DLP. It's amazing. It's the Mears. By the new Chicken and Biscuit Bowl. Dig into great layers of flavor with KFC. By Diet Dew. All the dew, no calories. How Dew does diet. And by Nextel only from Sprint, helping NASCAR Nextel Cup fans get more done.
Getting set for the restart, Ryan Newman emerges the leader after pit stops. He gained 3 spots on pit road, as Larry showed you. Martin Truex, Clint Boyer, Carl Edwards, Mark Martin. That's the running order as we get set to resume. Both Tony Stewart and Kurt Busch are in the garage. Busch parked by NASCAR, and Stewart in the garage under repair. Bill France Jr.'s appointment as president of NASCAR is probably the most significant event in the history of the sanctioning body that was founded by his father. Bill Jr. passed away this afternoon at the age of 74, and in his honor, one very big NASCAR on Fox. Crank it up. Dover, Delaware. Ryan Newman, the leader. It's the first time he has led more than 100 laps in a race since he led 325 of them here in September 2004, a race that he won. The last time anyone won from the pole at Dover, June 2003. Ryan Newman, the man who started on pole today and who leads right now.
You know, Mike, I was wondering this morning when I got up, why are we here today? Why are we at a racetrack today? It's Monday. Why did it rain yesterday? This was our last race. We're supposed to be at home. Now I know. I love that old man. He's meant a lot to a lot of us, and I don't know what we'll do without him.
I know what you mean, Darrell. You raced for him, you and Larry. I worked for him, and he was a strong presence.
The things I can remember most were when he told me that I did a good job. That was about twice.
Yeah, he didn't say that all that
He didn't
often.
say it a lot, but when
sure
he
meant
did, you knew that he was sincere. And I just don't know what we're going to do now that we don't have him.
But I know what he wants us to do, exactly what we're doing here today.
Oh, yeah, that's why we're here today. He had it planned.
And he always got his way.
He did. The best story I can tell you is when Brian and his wife had their twins. Betty Jane wanted a girl. Billy wanted a boy. Guess what they had? A girl and a boy.
Twins.
Twins.
him no matter what situation he got his way.
We have 112 laps left to run here in Dover, Delaware. Ryan Newman is your leader. His father brought organization and respectability to stock car racing. But when Bill France Jr. took the wheel as NASCAR president in '72, his regional sport had little television coverage and mostly automotive sponsors. Bill Jr. drove the family-owned sport straight to Madison Avenue. In '73, France signed R.J. Reynolds Tobacco as title sponsor of its premier series. Shown here in '79, he sold CBS TV on televising the Daytona 500 flag to flag. Surprising ratings drew supermarket shelf sponsors, TV networks, and even presidents. Bill could be an intimidating presence in both the boardroom and the garage as his sports chief salesman, rules enforcer, and track operator. He never minded that supporters and critics alike described his role as a benevolent dictatorship. Bill grew NASCAR into a national marketing powerhouse in America's #2 sport on TV before retiring in 2003. Bill France Jr. was 74.
Friday's race on Fox is sponsored by Best Buy. Make this the summer to wow only at Best Buy. By TGI Fridays Restaurants' new right portion, right price menu. Give me more Fridays. By E-Trade. It's easy, it's extraordinary, it's E-Trade. And by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge.
Martin Truex Jr. in the Tracker Boats #1. Took advantage of a little slip right there by Ryan Newman to go back in the lead.
Yeah, and the thing that Martin's got to do now, you know, first-time winners, sometimes you got to think about, if you've never won a race, you got to start thinking like a winner. And what have I got to do to put this thing in victory circle? I've got it this for the next 100 miles is the toughest 100.
And it took him 25 laps since that restart to run that 12 car down and get by him eventually.
So will we see our second first-time winner in a row? What did you say on our AT&T Virtual Crew Chief? A lot of doubters, but of course there's a lot of experienced winners in the field and a long way to go. Wouldn't surprise me a bit.
Well, winning just seems to breed winning. I mean, it does so much for your team. Casey Mears' team, you know, getting that win last week and a shot in the arm. And this team right here, what a big deal it would be for DEI, for Martin Truex, to win the race today.
So out of the race, Dale Jarrett with engine problems, Tony Stewart and Kurt Busch as a result of that turn 4 crash. Moments ago, Steve Burns caught up with Kurt.
In the garage with Kurt Busch. Kurt, what happened on the racetrack and then on pit road?
You know, pit road was just me stopping there to make a point and only making the situation worse, so that was my fault. But out on the racetrack with Tony, you know, we raced 10, 15 laps side by side. He didn't give an inch, and I was making sure that I stayed off of him because earlier in the day, he tried to wreck us at 2 restarts, so I'm not sure where he came from today. It's really confusing on that side of it, but he did get mission accomplished. He wrecked us, and I have no idea what it stems from, so tough day for us and our Miller Lite Dodge. And then just to hear that Bill France Jr. passed away, that's a tough moment. So I feel bad that, you know, some of this is going to be overshadowed what I did, but the most important thing is the France family today, so condolences to them. And, you know, for me, we just didn't finish again by a guy not giving an inch. Plenty of guys behind me all stacked up. He had let a few guys go. Don't know where he's coming from today, so we're all real confused by Tony's driving.
Thank you, Kurt.
All right.
Thanks, Steve. Tony's car is in the garage under repair. Kurt's car has been parked for the rest of the day by NASCAR.
We do need to mention, certainly Kurt Busch did not want to see that last caution, but Jeff Hammond had spoke earlier about David Strimmy in the 40 car. What that caution did do, I know it was several laps ago, it gave that team an opportunity to get Regan Smith in that car. Jeff Hammond reported David Strimmy was very sick to his stomach, so now Regan Smith out there in the 40 car making laps, 8 laps down.
.88 laps to go. Ryan Newman has fallen 2.6 seconds behind Martin Truex. Carl Edwards third. If you look inside the Monster Mile, there is a horse track, the cinders of a horse track here at Dover Downs. That was the original track here. Then the asphalt and now concrete track was added. And I think today it's a 4-horse race. Truex, Newman, Edwards, Boyer. Nobody has really been able to challenge those 4 for most of this event.
And we have 86 laps to go. We're here at lap 314. Our next set of green flag stops, which could be our last set of stops, should come here somewhere in about 30 to 35 laps. That could be certainly the most critical stop for everyone if it comes down to green. Getting on the pit road, no mistakes on pit road. Right now, I've got to believe Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Mannion, they want to see green flag stops. We talked a while ago. Ryan Newman in the 12 group, they have such an advantage where they're beating everyone off pit road under caution.
Well, this race hasn't had a lot of cautions, and this is a physical racetrack, so you get a little bit tired physically, and when you do, it starts to drain on you mentally. So I just keep wanting to harp on the fact that you've got to stay focused these last now 75 or so laps.
Don't know if we can count this guy out just yet.
I wouldn't.
Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car. Remember, he had his problem on pit road way back on lap 25 at that first competition caution. He at one point was 41st. Now he's made his way back in the top 5.
Well, Larry, some guys are just closers, and Jimmy Johnson's a closer.
Ryan Newman has Montoya as the buffer between he and Carl Edwards, but for how long? Edwards has been closing.
And again, Carl Edwards, we know what kind of shape he's in. That guy is buff, man. And when it comes time to turn it up a notch, pretty sure he can do it.
And you heard the radio, a little frustration that Montoya gave Newman a bit of a hard time getting by and then just gave way to Carl Edwards.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one, but Juan's pretty hard to pass.
You know, going back to Martin Truex Jr. in that one car is right now we have 39 cars still out there. To me, besides this pit stop and those crew members, the most important guys this battle for seconds heating up for Martin Truex Jr., I think, is Joey Meyer, his spotter. Watching what Martin's doing, watching him anticipating as he catches those lap cars, doing a good job of keeping him out of trouble.
The fastest guy right now in the top 7 or 8 is Jimmy Johnson by a couple of tenths. Carl Edwards, Martin Truex, and Ryan Newman are all running pretty much the same speeds, but Jimmy Johnson's a couple of tenths quicker.
Perhaps the most surprising stat of this race is that at 80 laps to go, there's only 9 cars on the lead lap. We've had long green flag runs and a lot of disparity in performance between the teams up and down pit road here.
And a part of that is that we have said over and over is a product of this pit road. This pit road is hard to deal with. You can make a lot of mistakes on pit road and get yourself in trouble just as easy out in the pits as you can out on the track.
Darrell, they're in the midst of a 5-year capital expansion here. The first years of that are things that will benefit the fans, like the new concourse and more seats and suites, bigger hotel, and late in that plan, there is in place the plans to change the garage area and the pit road here at Dover. So it's in the works. It's coming. Won't be here next year, but it's coming along. Krista?
You guys have mentioned exhaustion. Denny Hamlin on that last stop said he needed forward bite and a Coke, and that the Coke might be more important. He said he is getting worn out on every stop. He wants a drink. I talked to Denny earlier this week. He said this is a track that really wears me down physically. It takes so much concentration. That's exactly what DW was talking about, physicality and mentally. Denny pointed out he's in better shape now than he's ever been, so he was interested to see what would happen. But right now, it doesn't matter how good a shape you're in. This Monster Mile definitely takes a beating on these drivers.
Darrell, that was one of our keys to the race. You can never relax and you can never let your guard down. And we've only had 4 cautions during these first 323 laps.
And I can't tell you, inside the race car, when you get tired, you start thinking about other things. Gosh, man, this seat's starting to hurt my shoulder. This headrest and my arm. You start thinking about all the wrong things instead of closing the deal. I just, close the deal.
You know, I'm impressed with the job your brother Michael has done today. Now, Martin's about to put him another lap down, but Michael Waltrip has not run a full race since the Daytona 500. That is not a physically demanding race, so it's been since November that he's had to spend all day working hard in a race car like this, and yet he's 28, giving a good account of himself and having a decent run, Darrell.
And as I look at him sitting in that race car, look at his head, Mike. He is having a hard time holding his head up. That's a driver right there. See how his head's all bowed over to the right? That's a driver right there that's tired. He's got to use the headrest to keep his head up. He's using that headrest right now for relief. And that's kind of what we're talking about here. Staying up in the seat. And look at Newman. Look at those eyes. He is on it, baby. Look at him. Both hands on the wheel, looking around. Where are they?
That is one focused individual right there.
I'm a-coming. Where is he?
He's 3.4 seconds ahead of you. Get going.
And Ryan's like a rock. He reminds me of Cale Yarborough. Cale didn't have a neck, big old shoulders, little short arms. He'd get up on that steering wheel, pull those gloves up over his elbows, and look out.
Ward Burton has hit the wall to put us under caution for the 5th time today. Ooh. That was a hard hit.
Just hold right there just a minute. Got two more cars coming by, clear to the bottom. Cut her to the bottom.
This was a huge break for Casey Kane in that 9 car back in 11th position. He was just about to fall into the clutches of our leader, Martin Truex Jr.
Boy, he has crab caked that car.
With 2, he's coming to you. He's in the bottom of 3 and 4.
You'll see it from J.J. Yaley's onboard camera way off in the distance.
On the bottom, inside. 10-car hole behind you at 84.
You saw the
that 4. Caution's out for that 4 car.
You saw a big new skid mark there in turn 2 as if the tire went down and sent him straight up into the wall.
It had all the looks.
Flat right front tire, probably going to lift it up. Do not gas, help him on the right side.
That he had no control of over that race car. But now as he's sitting on pit road, our leaders are coming through 3 and 4. This falls right within a fuel window, 71 laps to go. We've talked about pit road, we've talked about mistakes. This is where everybody has to be dead on this pit stop.
Krista.
Jimmy Johnson said the balance is just right on his car, but he's not really hooked up. He said he's getting loose just a couple of spots on the back end, just not enough grip. A small adjustment for the 48 and 4 tires. Jeff.
Right now, Jeff Kerr's got the right side of this #1 car up. Everything's going smooth. Car is perfect as far as Martin's concerned. Kevin told him, just take it easy, buddy. You're looking good. And everything is working so well for this 1 car. He looks like he may be on his way to victory lane, Steve.
Jeff, Brian Newman in the bottom right, Clint Boyer bottom left. Both need their cars to be tightened up, and both are going to make a track bar adjustment. Mac.
And the 17 at Kenton, they pushed in a spring rubber on the last stop. It didn't help, so they were going to pull it out this time. And Kenton said the car, just balance-wise, is not there. He was running 9th.
Now you see Ryan Newman won the battle off pit road. That Martin Truex Jr., his crew could not have been no better. But because of pit selection, qualifying on the pole, the 12 won the battle.
71 laps of tension and excitement to go. 69 laps to go in the Autism Speaks 400 presented by Visa, and the plot thickens. Every time we have a caution flag, Brian Newman has the chance to beat Martin Truex Jr. off pit road. But every time we have a long green run, Truex brings it back to Newman and retakes the lead. So will this race be determined by how long of runs we have from here on out?
You don't have the luxury now of waiting on anything. You can't wait on your car to come in. You can't wait to get around Newman. If the one's got anything, he needs to get on Newman. You see him bumping him there, saying, I'm coming, dude.
I think the one guy that's licking his chops, Darrell and I were talking at break, that 48 car back there in fifth.
See, this closed him up. He was several seconds behind. Now he's right up there with these guys, and he was a little quicker coming to that last caution. So I'd say he's pretty happy right now.
12 cars on the lead lap, counting Jeff Burton, who got the free pass on that caution.
Just working through these lap cars. Just got around Bill Elliott in 21 there. Bill gave him a lot of room, and these first 5 cars they're going to take off here now.
Tony Stewart has returned to the race. He is 63 laps down, but can pick up as many as 4 positions between now and the finish.
Well, he came in here 6th in the points, so he needs all the points he can just to maintain his top 12 status.
Jeff Hammond.
Mike, one of the things that's been going on here during this last caution are these drivers making a little bit of a brake adjustment to the front. So during this start on these fresh tires, when the back end's got a lot of fuel in it, they're really using a lot more front brake. They can drive off of the turns a little more aggressively. Unlike the 99 car of Carl Edwards, he called his spotter, Jason Hedlesky, and said, hey, buddy, in about 10 or 12 laps, remind me to crank a little bit back to the rear as the car goes through transition. A lot like what Martin Truex is doing also. So both these drivers on kill late in the race with the brakes.
Just saw Jimmy Johnson at the end of the backstretch going into 3. Drove that thing down in there. Took 4th spot away from Clint Boyer in the 07.
And Jeff, that's what I was talking about. You got to say, oh, they got a car high into turn 2 down there. I'm sorry, guys.
Michael almost, did he get the wall? He may have.
I think he did, but only slightly. He took off up the hill like something bad happened. Anyway, back to what I was saying.
He's got a problem. He just hit the wall.
No, there he goes. He's around.
Sterling just got past him.
All right, let her go.
The brake adjustment, all these little issues, all these little things that you know to do or can do.
Got a flat right rear. 10-4, yeah, it's flat. Just stay with the pack here.
Crab caked it, tartar sauce.
He just started going into turn 1. I saw him go up the hill down into turn 1. And I thought he had a problem, but
they're by 4.
See him back here.
Hold on to it, hold on to it. Keep digging now, keep digging. Still inside, still inside.
I don't think he see right here is where he got in trouble first time, and then this is when he spun the thing down the hill.
Right here.
Oh, I'm telling you, I can't believe he slid down in front of those cars. Nobody hit him.
Saw Sterling Marlin in the 14 all the way down on the apron.
Caution's out, caution's out. Hold your brake, hold your brake, hold your brake. All right, let her go. Caution's out, caution's out. Let's go back. Keep digging here, keep digging. Got a flat right rear. 10-4, yeah, it's flat. Just stay with.
Going to get Sterling Marlin our Allstate Good Hands Award. Allstate will donate $1,000 to the Urban Youth Racing School because of this close call there.
Wow. Junebug didn't do too bad a job of missing that one. We ought to maybe share it with each other.
Allstate, official insurance sponsor of NASCAR. Are you in good hands?
And we had only run 6 laps since that last restart, and right now it looks like pretty much all the leaders are going to stay out. We maybe see a couple of takers, guys that were at the back.
Watch this thing come down here. Whoa, man, Sterling just, that's inches.
And you know what? Sterling's sitting there in the top 15, only 1 lap down with that 14 car. Casey Kane and Jeff Burton seem to be the only lead lap cars come to pit road. Nothing lost there because they were near the back of the pack.
But you know what? Back of the pack, Larry, like we were saying a bit ago, there are 12 cars on the lead lap. Come down, do a little adjustment, get you 4 fresh tires, might have a small advantage.
I felt pretty safely to say that our top 4 or 5, especially Martin Truex Jr. in the 1 car, because it takes a few laps for his car to really get going. As we mentioned last time, took about 20 to 25 laps for him to get the lead back.
Casey Kane's done a really good job today, Larry. I mean, he led the race early on, had some problems, got a lap down, got the lucky dog, and here he is.
Well, there's the chirp. Time for our Nextel call of the race, because Nextel helps NASCAR fans get things done. You mentioned a few likely candidates. Who gets the call?
Oh, boy. I love that 1 car right now. If they can just close the deal, that's the only thing I worry about.
You know what? I'm going to go with the guy actually leading the race right now, the 12 car. You know, they came up here, they sat on the pole. It seems like over the course of their last several poles, they've not been able to close the deal. So far, with 61 laps to go, they're getting it done like Nextel.
And it's hard not to pick a bunch of guys, because you got 07 Clinton Boyer looking for his first win, running 5th, and old Mark is sneaked in there to 6th.
But trust me, if Darrell hadn't taken the 1 car, I believe I'd have been all over that myself.
Yeah, no, they've done a great job today.
All right, you won't believe this one. Since you've taken all the likely suspects, give me Robby Gordon. Can you believe, after running the Baja 500, flying to the West Coast, flying back to the East Coast, P.J. Jones working on his car, he's back on the lead lap.
And don't forget, they had to start at the rear because of an engine change. Oh, by the way, throw that in there.
So I'm not sure which call they made was the good call, but it's pretty good results so far.
New crew chief in place over there, Gene Needs. So a lot of situations going on around this 7 car.
All right, bud. It's all you now.
It's all you. Heard that before.
Well, let's get the damage and Dipsy Dumpster report from Steve Burns.
Hey, Mike, just wanted to mention, after I spoke with Kurt Busch, I went over to the 20 car while it was in the garage. Tony stayed in the car with the window net up. I counted 14 mechanics working on the right front of that race car. The entire wheel, spindle, hub, brake assembly was replaced, so they did a great job just to get the 20 back onto the racetrack.
That's a lot of people, but I tell you, the most people I've ever seen work on one race car was yesterday when I was watching drag racing. When Eric Medlin blew up and had fire and everything. Not Eric. I'm sorry.
No, sorry. Can't remember which driver.
Gosh,
well, John
Force's driver. Yeah. They burnt the car to the ground. In 75 minutes, they rebuilt that car, put it all back together. There must have been 50 guys working on it. Robert Height.
Thank you. Today's the Autism Speaks 400 presented by Visa. You see the autism puzzle pieces on Jamie McMurray's car. AutismSpeaks.org can get you more information on this malady that afflicts now 1 out of every 150 children. And the helmet Jamie's wearing today and his suit are going to be auctioned off. So you can have one of those as a souvenir and help contribute in the fight for autism research.
Fun golf tournament on Thursday. That was a lot of fun.
Raised a lot of money, had a lot of fun for a great cause. Now here's the problem that a lot of those guys back there have, like Jimmy Johnson, Clint Boyer, Mark Martin. If you notice, all those cars on the inside that are lapped down, and those are becoming desperate guys trying to get back on the lead lap.
Scott Riggs in the 10 is the first of those as we go back to green with 58 laps to go.
Nobody's going to get a jump on Ryan Newman, because I tell you, his car is fast for a number of laps. I just don't know if the one's got anything for him once he gets out front, though.
The 1 car needs long runs. He does not need any caution.
No, these short runs and these cautions will hurt him.
He's got enough time now, though, to be patient if this race goes green.
But I tell you what, how good is that 1 car even getting on the short runs? He just ran his fastest lap of the race on that last restart at lap 337. I believe they have done a little air pressure change on that car to make it come in quicker.
Yeah, I'll be with you here in a minute. I'm holding my breath right now. I'll tell you, there's some guys out there that are really, really trying hard.
Jimmy Johnson has taken to diamonding the racetrack. Go in the corner low, let the car sweep way up high, and then cut it low coming off the corner. And he is catching Carl Edwards. Let it sweep up high, cut it back down low.
Oh, that's how you make great speed around here, especially when you got the whole racetrack to work with. Hard to pass people that way, but you can sure make up time that way.
He just ran his fastest lap of the race right there on lap 345.
I think here's where Martin has to be very, very cautious. Don't push the issue with Ryan Newman just yet. Just wait on Ryan. You're better than he is. Don't take any chances right here.
So once again, it's a 4-horse race with Clint Boyer now 5th. That 4th horse is Jimmy Johnson.
There's no rush for Martin right now. Just work on the back bumper of that 12 car. Get yourself in a position.
He's in. And Newman gives him room.
Now go.
He got that fender there, but I think one reason he knew he needed to go, we've been talking about it, that Lowe's 48 car getting bigger and bigger back there in the rearview mirror.
Krista.
As we talked about on that last stop, how Jimmy said the balance was right, but he just was not hooked up. Well, he just got on the radio and said, I'm more in the track now. It's not skipping across the concrete. So a very scary thing for the rest of the competition. Jimmy Johnson likes his car.
Well, he's definitely changed the line around this racetrack, as Mike pointed out a while ago.
And look at that run. Look at that run he gets off turn 4, Larry. That high line, put that power down, sweep down out of the corner.
But there he goes to the bottom of the racetrack to try to get over Ryan Newman.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You can't. That's just so difficult to do.
And he's going to lose a bunch of positions because of that.
Cost you 3 spots. Now he's got to fight back.
I think that high line is the reason he's up there, is his car is just so free that he can't take it to the bottom. We see this all too often with any kind of race vehicle. They just get down underneath, and that car on the outside, as soon as it accelerates past him, pulls him right around.
He had double trouble. He had the car on the outside. He had Carl Edwards in the 99 tucked right up behind him.
And it took a lot of talent on all 3 of their parts to keep that from being a big problem.
Jimmy Johnson's one of the best I've ever seen at getting a car totally out of shape and not losing it.
But you heard Chad Canals telling, we'll get them back. We still have 50 laps to go. I don't think he hurt anything. He didn't hurt any tires. He still should be in good shape, other than the fact now he's almost 2 seconds behind Martin.
I don't know, Larry. These tires, as sensitive as they are, when you slide them like that, and you can't back off right here now, you got to keep charging. Could have hurt him a little bit.
But Darrell, the other thing that you brought up in practice, the end plates on these wings, on the rear wings, when the car starts to go sideways, they act as a stabilizer, a rudder to straighten these cars out. How many cars have we seen spin out today?
None. But we've seen a bunch of them try to spin out. But those end plates, they just create so much side force that it keeps the car from going all the way around.
But Darrell, you're right. They have that car so loose right now, the 48 car. You saw him just almost sideways off of turn 4 as he's trying to fight around Carl Edwards on the outside in the 99.
Yeah, that's why he almost spun that thing out. I just don't know if I'd do that again, Jimmy. That's pretty loose down there. You need the whole racetrack, dude, to make the pass. Can you do it? Can you do it? I think you can do it with Carl Edwards. Carl didn't force him.
But he has to go because he's been fighting his way back. He's been losing 3 to 4 tenths of a second per lap to Martin Truex Jr. up there in the 1-car lead.
47 laps to go. And we'll take you to the finish after this. Ryan Newman is 1.4 seconds behind Martin Truex Jr. caution flag is out for the 7th time today. David Gilliland spun down the front stretch, collected Ricky Rudd, and the big question now, as pit road opens, what will they do?
I just think you got to come.
I think the top 3 or 4 were going to wait each other out, and you see Truex, Newman, Johnson, Carl Edwards, Clint Boyer all stayed out. Then about the next 5 or 6 cars on the lead lap, like Hamlin, Gordon, Kenseth, Biffle, Kane, Burton, Robby Gordon, they all hit pit road. About what I think we expected.
The only way this will work really good is if you have other cautions. But I tell you, I like 4 tires, man.
There really wasn't much debate, DW, for Jeff Gordon. Back on lap 275, they went down 10 rounds, had track bar-itis, trying to get that race car to tighten up. And so many laps left, they decided to come in again to try to make more adjustments. The same for Matt Kenseth.
Kenseth and Gordon pretty close to a tie there as far as who got off pit road first. And let's show you why we're under caution. Watch the 38 of David Gilliland.
This is a car owner's nightmare right here. This is what you always worry that doesn't happen, that you don't want to happen.
When he tried to correct it, he just gets right into the left rear of his teammate Ricky Rudd in that 88 car, hard lick to the inside wall. But he just got very loose as he came up off the exit of turn 4, Gilliland did.
I guarantee you, Gilliland is already apologizing to Robert before they ever start, before they ever hit the wall.
Yeah. Last week's winner, Casey Mears, gets the free pass. So when we restart, we'll have 14 cars on the lead lap. During the month of June, DeWalt will give you a free battery instantly with the purchase of select 18-volt power tools. Visit your local DeWalt retailer or go to dewalt.com for details. Getting set for the restart with Martin Truex Jr. on point, trying to win his first ever Nextel Cup race. He'll be 39 laps away with Ryan Newman and Jimmy Johnson filling his rearview mirror when they wave the green flag. There it is.
Agree with you. You know, there's no question 4 tires will be awfully good here, but I think the friend that Martin Truex Jr. has right now is those 4 cars, now 3 cars behind him that stayed out with him as well here with 39 laps to go.
Jeff Hammond.
Mike, just prior to that caution coming out, when it finally did come out, Martin Truex called in and said, guys, I think we need to stay out. His crew chief called him back very calmly and said, Martin, we've already talked about this. You know what to do. I think the game plan was already there. Don't be telling me. Everybody else will know. So it's kind of like, he says, calm down, stay out there, stay focused. And right now, he's definitely getting himself a really nice lead.
Well, and Jeff, that car has been so good on the long run, which tells me he's getting excellent tire wear. He's not abusing the tires. So, yeah, for him, it probably makes a lot of sense. I would have thought somebody back in there like a Jeff Gordon or even Denny Hamlin, some of those guys that stopped, if they needed a little tweak to get them up to the front, that could have been all they needed.
And right now, I think unless something happens to the 1 car, I don't think the 12 car can beat him. But Martin Truex Jr.'s best friend is that 12 car, because the longer he keeps the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson back there, the more the laps will wind down. Because I think that's the wild card right now, is that 48 car.
Only thing I ever worry about on staying out on hot tires with a few laps on them is I pick up something and cut one of them down. Get a slow leak, get a puncture.
Dale Earnhardt Incorporated has been to victory lane in Nextel Cup racing with Dale Earnhardt Jr., with Steve Park, and with Michael Waltrip, a total of 23 times. As Martin Truex looks for win number 1, DEI is the only Nextel Cup team he's ever driven for after winning the NASCAR Busch Series championship for them.
I think they got right there in 3rd place. If Jimmy Johnson can get around Ryan Newman, he's been really hard to get by right now because Jimmy can't run the low line. He can only run kind of high, and he's trying to get underneath Ryan and jump up in front of him. If he can get that done, he might be able to chase down the 1 car. I don't know.
Yeah, he can beat Ryan Newman down to the middle of the corner, but Newman wins the battle each time, as he did right there off turn 4, off the corner.
Well, Jimmy's been running up the hill and cutting down. That's okay when there's nobody in your way.
And while these guys are racing each other at 24.90s, our leader, Martin Truex Jr., 0.2 of a second a lap faster in 24.70s. Now it looks like the 48 car will close the deal here with 32 laps to go.
Newman crosses under, can't get back to Johnson's bumper.
Now, I tell you what, that 48 car is plenty fast enough to go up there and challenge our leader. And that's just an incredible job. And, of course, Ryan Newman's going to fight back a little bit on the bottom. Ryan's just a little better on the bottom. But Jimmy gets incredible speed off the top up there and really shoots down that little short 850-foot straightaway.
So Truex is up 1.6 seconds on Johnson with 32 laps to go.
Let me tell you, Jimmy Johnson is driving the wheels off his car. The thing isn't very good right now, and he's still going. And there's Jeff Gordon and those guys that got 4 tires. The 17 car. I thought they had moved forward better than they're doing, Larry.
Yeah, they still have not gained any positions because Clint Boyer was the last car to stay out, and he was in 5th before that caution in the 07, still running 5th.
Boyer's. That's a great battle for 2nd right now. And Jimmy is using everything he's got to stay ahead of Ryan. And while they're doing that, tell you what, the 11, the 17, and the 24 are closing.
They're closing, but Martin Truex Jr. in the 1 is pulling away right now.
2 seconds is now the margin, 1st to 2nd.
And I just feel so much that right now it's on the shoulders of Joey Meyer, the spotter for Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Mannion. Just look out your windshield and hit your marks. The one thing that's probably going to happen here.
The guys with tires are back there running 25-10 as well. They're not coming through traffic. Hold straight.
Good information that Kevin Mannion's given Martin Truex Jr., the guy that changed tires we talked about. They're not getting to you.
And the thing I noticed about Martin Truex, we've been running in the mid-25 range second laps around here. 24.94 last time by.
Matt?
Mike, in the fall of 1995, Kevin Mannion was working on a modified with his best friend, Tommy Baldwin Jr. And then in October, he received a phone call that changed his life. Tommy says, you know what? I'm packing up my Cadillac, and I'm heading south to chase a dream in NASCAR down in North Carolina. Do you want to go? Bono said, I'll call you back in 5 minutes. Called back and said, all right, I'm going to take the ferry over first thing in the morning, and we'll go. He left his own personal vehicle at Tom Baldwin Sr.'s shop with a note, please sell. He landed a job at several teams, and then he landed a job where he had stayed at Dale Earnhardt Inc. That loyalty has paid off. He won 2 Busch championships. He's gone to victory lane with Steve Park and now hoping to hold on with another first-time winner, Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, you know, that's one. Oh, I'm sorry, go, Jeff.
Daryl, right now, what you're hearing from Matt, what you guys have been saying about Bono is just holding true so well, because he is so calm on the radio. It seems like these guys are on their own wavelength all day long. He's been very calm. They've known they've had a very good race car. Larry McReynolds talked early on about all the changes that Matt Yoakum saw do on Saturday to get this car like they wanted it. He said, I can run the bottom anytime I want to. The main thing is everybody here has been so calm, including the driver, so confident all day long. Right now, it's just a matter of putting a period on it.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say, Jeff. We're talking about it's his first win. It's his first Cup win. This guy has won a lot of races. He's won a lot of races in the Busch Series, and he's won a lot of championships in the Busch Series.
And he did, yeah, 2 championships. And what I like, he did it with that group that's in his pits right now with Kevin Mannion and that entire team.
He has a Cup win. It just didn't count. It was the 2007 Nextel Open.
So he has been to victory lane in a Cup car.
There's Martin's father. He's had a good bit of wheel time up in the NASCAR North Series. And Barney Truex, I mean, the whole family
Perfect, man.
is
straight, everything's good.
deep in racing
to go, the
for generations.
To the end. We will not pit again.
I think that pretty much told the tale. It's kind of, you got what you got right there here with 23 laps to go. But the one thing he has right now is over a 3-second lead over Jimmy Johnson in the 48.
Yeah, he doesn't have to worry right now. He doesn't have to hustle. He can just drive a nice, smooth, consistent line. No pressure.
And the last time going through 3 and 4, Jimmy Johnson in the 48 drove it in so far up the hill that he actually lost the second position to Ryan Newman in the 12.
Boy, in 6th place, Jeff Gordon and Hamlin are wearing each other out. One high, one low. Then it switches back the next lap. I'm not sure if this is decided yet.
And both of those are cars that came to pit road and got 4 tires on that last caution.
But also, Larry, both of those are cars that are not as fast as the leader.
No one's as fast as our leader right now, I don't think.
No point. He's right. You know what he's doing right now? My favorite thing, slowing down and going faster.
Martin won the 2004 NASCAR Busch Championship without a DNF. Finished every single race. Prior to that, he has 5 wins in what is now the Busch East Series.
Now, the one thing we're seeing, you could see it right there as we had that shot, as these two continue to go at each other for the 6th spot.
48, right rear flat.
Yeah, he's definitely got a problem.
He wore that bad boy out.
We saw how loose he was.
Oh, yeah, he was bad loose, and he just kept driving her in there and diming in that corner. Guarantee you she's out of rubber.
Tires, guys. Your right side tires.
This could drop him from 3rd down to about 20th in this race.
Could have very easily been one of those slide jobs he went on, you know, a little bit there, a little bit ago.
Johnson makes it to pit road. Krista.
6 laps to go. The Chad Canal said, Jimmy, go get him now. A right rear tire is the problem. They're putting on 2 right sides, but Jimmy Johnson is going to fall short here at Dover.
And when that happened, Ryan Newman actually had to check up just a little bit. So right now, with 18 laps to go, Martin Truex Jr.'s lead is up to 4 seconds.
He's led 4 times as many laps today as in his whole Nextel Cup career.
And you know what else? I mean, there he's sitting out there leading the race, Martin is, and doing a wonderful job. But I got to give a call to Ryan Newman, too. Starts on the pole today. A little suspect about his engine, you know, was worried about it yesterday in practice. This is the best run that 12 car's had this year, too.
Jeff?
Mike, we've been talking about the communication between Joey Meyer, the spotter, and Martin Truex Jr. Right now, he just called back to Martin Truex Jr. and let Bono know. I'm letting everybody up here know on top of the spotter's tower to give us the bottom. I need the bottom from you guys. So all this lap traffic is coming up on, look for it to kind of give him a little extra room to let the leader through.
Yeah, Jeff, the spotters are just to our left up here in the announce booth, and trust me, Joey Myers is a very busy man right now.
His head's sticking up like a turtle over there right now.
16 laps to go. It's not over, but Truex has a 4.3 second lead on Ryan Newman.
There you go.
The last time this circuit had 2 consecutive first-time winners was 1999 in the fall. Tony Stewart at Richmond, and Joe Nemechek a week later at Loudon, New Hampshire.
Well, what Truex does not want to have right now is a caution. But I don't know why. A couple of guys back there, and particularly Matt Kenseth, who got tires on that last caution. He's running good lap times. He's just way behind our leader right now. With tires and Truex without tires, that could be a real shootout if we had a late caution.
Yeah, the last thing that one car wants right now is anything that even resembles a yellow flag.
Just imagine these engines sit out here turn 9,500 RPM all afternoon. We're coming up on a 4-hour race here, and just think about 4 hours here to run 400 miles at Dover. Last week it was about 4.5, 4:45 to run 600 miles in Charlotte.
And you know what? I want to give a call to Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. When you look at the turmoil that they've been in this year with Dale Earnhardt Jr., is he leaving? Is he staying? He makes the announcement. And then the next week, Tony Eury Jr., the crew chief of that car, is suspended. And here they come out here, and Martin Truex Jr. doing what he's doing here. I know we have 12 to go. He's going to come close to getting to the top 12 in points when we leave here, too.
Well, what I like is Martin said, held up his hand, pick me. I want to be the man at DEI. And you know what? They're probably giving him a lot of focus right now because he is going to be the man at DEI.
For the first time in a race with the new car, a Hendrick car will likely not be in victory lane. The first Hendrick car is the 24 of Jeff Gordon, and he is in 6th place, leading Biffle, Boyer, and Mark Martin.
Oh, speaking of Mark Martin, the 01 car, he goes by Clint Boyer. Again, we have 11 laps to go, but if Mark can maintain where he's running less races than anybody he's racing with, he's going to get into the top 12 in points when we leave here.
10 to go. Rodney Wise on the flag stand, arms outstretched.
You guys be careful there.
This is a home game for him. Our starters from Magnolia, Delaware.
And Mike, right behind this group, I know we're looking at this battle here, but you talked about it a while ago. That car back there, the yellow and blue car, Robby Gordon in the 7 car, what a drive for him today to still be on the lead lap, up there just almost getting his way into the top 10.
Yeah, Larry, I think as the 8 car goes by, I think if you listen real closely, he's lost his cylinder. They just told him, you know, try to hang in there and finish.
He's got to get 9 more laps out of it. He's in 20th place, 2 laps down. Tony Stewart has gone to the garage. He's made up all the positions he can make. He's at 40th. Be a tough day for the Home Depot team.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. is racing a lot of cars. There's 9 cars out there that's 2 laps down right now.
Well, he's maintaining good speed through the turns, but he's dying on the straightaway with that cylinder out.
See Ryan Newman in the 12 car, still sitting there in 2nd, but 5 seconds behind our leader, Martin Truex Jr.
Jeff Gordon almost hit the wall in turn 4. The Biff got by him, and Clint Boyer got to him. I'm not sure if there's something wrong with Gordon or if he just missed the corner.
I think he's just that loose.
I just hope I get back to him.
Yeah, he's not happy with Biffle, I can tell you that.
And Casey Kane, who got the free pass on the last caution, is right there with him, and so is Robby Gordon in the 7th.
Robby Gordon is eyeballing a top 10 finish here, and as we talked earlier, certainly could use that based on his point situation.
And I got to give a call to his new crew chief, but also to P.J. Jones, who got in that car yesterday afternoon and run some laps for Robby, and I'm sure that didn't hurt anything at all with the P.J.'s a sharp guy, helped him out.
Robby Gordon moves into the top 10. And his last top 10, October at Atlanta last year.
This is going to be so good for Robby in his point situation.
5 laps to go.
As we're watching this battle right there for 10th right now, Martin Truex Jr. comes to 4 to go, has a few lap cars in front of him, but the good thing, over a 6-second cushion.
4 to go. Nice and easy with them guys in front of you. You've got time to work with them here.
And honestly, with the kind of lead he has, all he's looking for is the white flag, because once we get that white flag, we know we will not go into overtime into a green-white checker.
He's at the line now. And here comes Ryan Newman now. That's how far ahead he is right now. So he can idle around.
Gets by Joe Nemechek in the 13 car. He only really has about one more car up there. You see Johnny Sauter in the 70. And I'm sure Johnny will give him the bottom of the racetrack. 2 to go.
I got to tell you, that little car has been amazing today. That thing has stuck to the bottom all day long. You don't get a chance to do what he's done today very many times.
Some friends of ours have a suite up on the 10th floor of the hotel every race here. And Kevin Mannion went by the suite the other day, told Gary Nye, we are the car to beat. And with what was without any sense of bravado, it was a simple statement of fact.
White flag. 1 mile to go.
All right, man, just going to make it back no matter what.
There you go.
Killer lap time.
How many laps has he led today, Mike?
215, Darrell.
215.
On a day on which NASCAR loses Bill France Jr., another junior, Martin Truex Jr. is going to win his first Nextel Cup race. Truex wins the Autism Speaks 400.
The 7th different winner in 7 races here at Dover.
Yeah! Whoa! Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Holy mackerel. Wow.
How fitting. Holy mackerel.
What a car. Thank you, guys.
The family's in the seafood business.
Yes, they are. Holy mackerel.
You mentioned it, Mike. He considers this his home track.
Quite a performance by that whole team today. The crew, the driver, the car, the spotter.
Passed away today at 1 o'clock. Remember him in your victory speech. 12 is outside right here.
Ryan's coming up.
Ryan Newman second, Carl Edwards third, Denny Hamlin, Matt Kenseth the top 5. 1 Chevy or 2 Chevys, 1 Dodge, and 2 Fords.
Rodney Weiss will actually hand him the checkered flag.
Yeah, he getting tired of throwing it down there and I'm dropping it.
Congratulations to Chevy driver Martin Truex Jr.
I believe I remember Martin knowing how to do a burnout, if I recall.
There's nothing like that first one, is there, Darrell?
I'm telling you right now, you see what a Goodyear looks like ground up? Wait till he moves out of the way and you'll see.
So, do you like your seafood smoked?
Smoked mackerel.
First Nextel Cup win in his 58th race. And the second straight race we've had a first-time winner. Martin Truex is the man.
4th today in the Autism Speaks 400 presented by Mears. And very shortly we'll hear from Martin Truex Jr.
You've got to love a first-time winner. And for 2 weeks in a row, we've been blessed with just that. Martin Truex Jr. set to hop out and enjoy the fruits of victory. Steve Burns.
All right, thank you, Mike Joy. As you said, a bittersweet day here at Dover. Certainly sweet as Martin Truex Jr. celebrates his first NASCAR Nextel Cup victory on his home track, mixed in with the sad passing of the Bill France Jr. Martin, what does this day mean to you in your career at your home track?
Man, I don't know what to say. Just got to thank all these guys and everyone at DEI for their hard work. And in times of change and times when people don't really know what's going on and they need some leadership and some direction, I'm just real happy to be the one here in Victory Lane. Couldn't come at a better racetrack for us. Best Pro Shops, Tracker Bros, Johnny Morris, everybody involved, Chevrolet. Just unbelievable, man. What an unbelievable race car we had today.
Martin, I saw gets a congratulation hug from his dad. I saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. come into Victory Lane to congratulate you. What did he say?
He said, I told you could do it, man. It means a lot. He's been a great friend, and he said, I'll see you at the house tonight, so we'll go have some fun, but just can't thank these guys enough. Hard work. They work their guts out every week. The guys at the shop, the motors have come a long way. All the guys in our shop really work hard, 7 days a week sometimes, you know, till all hours of the night. And just want to thank them. And Teresa and Max and everybody, Richie Gilmore. There's so many people to thank. All the guys that helped me get to this level. Just it's a great day for all of us.
We're happy for you. Congratulations. Back up to Mike Joy.
Great run for Ryan Newman, second from the pole, and for David Reagan, highest finishing rookie. The car of tomorrow, transition, drivers moving. What stands out among the stories of this season, but for the passing of Bill France Jr.?
Well, as far as racing goes, the good finishes that we've seen today was probably the biggest margin of victory we've seen with this car, and I like how durable this car is. And then, of course, I love that old man and Betty Jane family. My heart breaks just like yours does.
And of course, I mean, you go all the way back 12 races ago to the Daytona 500. The finishes started right there with Mark Martin and Kevin Harvick coming down to the line and just thousandths of seconds separating them. We had finishes all year long like that. But yeah, I don't think there's a driver, a crew member, a track promoter, broadcaster, or a fan that the things that Bill France Jr. has done for our sport that hadn't touched in some shape, form, or fashion. We're going to miss you, buddy, and our thoughts and prayers certainly with the France family. He
made us all better, Mike. That's the thing. He always was wanted you to be better, and you wanted to do it for him.
And we did. We tried our best. I want to thank our NASCAR on Fox family, Mike Helton and the folks with NASCAR. It's been a transitional season for us all, but we've truly enjoyed bringing this great sport to you week after week, and we're very proud of what we've been able to show you and tell you about the great sport of NASCAR Nextel Cup racing. And we all want to thank our families. I want to thank Gay and my family for, they know how much we love to do this.
Yeah,
and how much we hate hearing, Dad, when are you going to be home?
Yeah, it's going to be sad not to be around for the rest of the year, and that's hard too. So it's Monday, but
we will be back for the 2008 Daytona 500. Oh, that's not that many months away.
Yeah,
we'll be home soon, but we will be back. Thanks for enjoying NASCAR on Fox. Monday. Sometimes it just turns out that way. Clearing skies, sunshine, a great race, capped by a first-time winner. As we remember the man who made NASCAR what it is today, Bill France Jr.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.